Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the THR Racing League end of season, bottom half of the league table special for you here at the Silverstone Classic track. I'm Matthew Duffin, and I'm joined tonight by co-commentator Ben Phelan.
Good evening, Matt.
And special guest, host and leader of the league, Tyler.
Good evening, great to be here.
So, special evening for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a 5-minute qualifying followed by 15-minute races. Throughout, the 5 cars ran the Prestige Man Ginetta GT5s, as we can see on screen at the moment. Changeable weather, tyre wear and a mandatory pit stop will all have to be in play here tonight. What's your thoughts on tonight then, Ben?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting evening, Matt. As we can see here, the Silverstone Classic track. A few newcomers to the event. As you can see, Phil here being very quick in testing, so it should be interesting to see how he mixes with the bottom half of both Class A and Class B. This Silverstone track is a very exciting one. Replicates the Thruxton circuit on the BTCC calendar, which is the idea behind using it in the league, and we hope to see more of it next season as well. So it should be interesting, great racing, particularly with the changing weather conditions.
Tyler, any thoughts?
Yeah, basically just what Ben said, does replicate Thruxton. Is a really, really quick circuit, but some of the corners can catch you out. They're a little bit tighter than they look, so I think we could see a couple of over-enthusiastic drivers go off early. But it'll be a great evening of racing.
Yeah, that indeed. We're on board with Louis Matt here. As you can see, it's in the night for the qualifying. Settings forgot to be changed there. As we're about to start a lap. Tyler, why don't you take us through the first lap with Louis Matt?
Sorry about that, Matt. I've got a couple of mic problems. I am, of course, on a delay as well, so it might be an idea if one of you guys want to take me through.
Ben, do you want to take us through that just a second?
Yeah, of course. So you can just see Louis Matt going through the first 2 corners. He was relatively flat out in these GT5 Ginettas. Feathering the brake in then for this right-hander. I don't actually know the names of this track because it's such an old one, but we'll make them up as we go along here. Down onto what's now known as the Hanger Straight. Climbing up through the gears. You'll be looking quite a fast track, so you'll be looking for the slipstream of the car in front, particularly in qualifying, to get a good lap in. Into Cops then, I think it is. Do we get a little bit sideways here? Don't forget the tyres are cold for this qualifying session. A little bit of added pressure for these drivers in the night time as well, so you can see they'll have their headlights on. A very fast circuit here. So this imitates the back straight in Thruxton now, as we see a car going wide there. Louis just doing well to avoid it. And then down to the final corner, which I think is going to be a great corner for some overtaking into the chicane. Again, very similar to that of Thruxton, even the same sort of layout. So it should be very exciting. So as we come through the final corner, currently Rocket's on pole with a 144.3. Can Louis gets a 146.9 there with a bit of traffic, so he'll be looking to improve on that.
Yeah, we noticed there as well that Phil did leave the server. Hopefully the new runner Phil can get back on in time for the next race. I don't think he'll have time to get on and qualify now. Like I say, Rocket's on pole at the minute with a 144.3. Here is the pole man. Who are you predicting for this one then, guys? Because obviously we know tomorrow night we've got the quicker guys from Group A and Group B. These are all the guys that didn't really have the best of seasons. Who are you predicting to win this one?
Well, I mean, you say they didn't have the best of seasons. We've still got some really good drivers in there, in fairness. Maybe a touch unlucky. I know Louis Matt didn't do all of the races. He's normally fighting up the top. Rockets, again, he's quick on his day. So there's a lot of good races here. The other question is, are we going to see anyone playing games flashing their headlights in the dark?
Yeah, no, I definitely think Louis Matt will be one to look out for in this race. He's shown a very strong, consistent pace in the Class B GT5 class, so definitely, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with the likes of Rocket, who's currently on pole, as we've seen. Yeah. And Dean Wysocki with a good showing there as well in second at the moment, and he's up on his delta here too, so it should be a very interesting race, definitely.
Yeah, definitely 7/10 off of Rocket's time at the minute. Dean Wysocki. A few underdogs maybe perhaps tonight, as we see Alfie off there.
Well, talk about Alfie, he's sat in third position at the minute, which is a really strong effort, to be fair to him.
We know Alfie, we've seen problems with Alfie a bit this season, and we all know about the flashing of the headlights. We've had discussions of that in chats as well. I think Ben can agree on that, and Dean Wysocki has taken pole there on the final lap. Rocket's missed out by 500ths of a second, so a good time there from Dean Wysocki, and he takes pole position. People probably not expecting that, as lap time's coming in thick and fast at the end of qualifying here.
Team LS just slots into third there, so a good run from him. Again, 1.1 seconds isn't a whole lot on the circuit. It's very easy to get wide and lose the rear a little bit, so expect a lot of these guys to be very close on pace throughout these first few laps.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So at the minute it's Lil Trev, Swimfins and KJ Argent who's not set a time. Min Adam, hopefully Min Adam's got his lag sorted out for tonight as well. I think everybody's done, or is there one car we're waiting on? I'm not sure.
I think that's Alfie.
Chicane.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're all done then. So for the first time tonight in the Ginetta GT5s, we'll run you through. It's Dean Wysocki, who many may think takes a surprise pole from Rockets by 500ths of a second. TMLS in third, it's Alfie fourth, Louis Matt in fifth, Deek sixth, Min Adam seventh, Lil Trev eighth, Swimfins ninth, and KJ Argent 10th. Like I say, we lost Phil in all of that. Hopefully Phil can join us for the next time round. As we get ready.
He should be back through, Matt. It's in the comments, so he just has to go and get a new HDMI cable, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of him a bit later on.
Oh, that's nice. That's what we want to see. We want to see everybody on the grid for this. Good evening to THR Racing UK. Nice to see you here. And Andrew Taylor says Dean for the win. Well, let's see if he can get off the line well as we wait for the drivers to ready.
Again, because of the classic track, quite an unusual grid lineup. So qualifying halfway down the grid isn't actually that bad, as you can see there. Louis Matt in fifth, still only 2 car lengths behind Dean Wysocki, the pole man. So it should be very interesting going into turn one.
Oh, as we've lost KJ Argent there. Yeah, like you say, Ben, you can kind of get a clear run off the line. You've not got the car in front of you. If you get a bad start, you get that clear run off the line here.
We could potentially go 4 wide into the first corner looking at this grid setup.
That should be very interesting. So for the first time tonight, the red lights are on. We're about to get underway. It's green. Everyone's away well. A bit bogged down at the back there for Swimfins. Dean Wysocki didn't get the best of start. Rocket off the line well, and Louis Matt on the outside. Bit of carnage in the background there. I think that's Min Adam and TMLS. Drop to the back of the grid, but Rocket off the line well. Gets up the inside. 3 wide maybe, I think. Was there a touch there on Dean? No, he's through the first corner in second place. It's Louis Matt third. Lil Trev comes into fourth, Alfie fifth. Deeks, I think that is, in sixth. Swimfin seventh, TMLS eighth. And Min Adam, we know, had the accident at the start with TMLS in ninth position. So everybody away pretty cleanly. Dean runs a bit deep into the corner, and that allows Louis Matt up the inside. Like we say, 15-minute race in changeable conditions. The guys will want to get into a nice rhythm on these dry, slick tyres before they have to pit. Tyre wear and fuel is on, so everything crucial tonight.
We'll try our best to keep everyone updated with the pit stops as well. Who's in on what lap, to give everyone a good idea of what's going on track. Oh, as we see someone going very wide, there's that Dean Wysocki and Lil Trev.
The pole man Dean Wysocki and Lil Trev. Did they ever coming together? They've both gone wide and are both off, so it's not gone the way Dean Wysocki would have liked there. Let's put TMLS back into fifth and Alfie up into third place, but it's Rocket out front who's got a good 2-second gap here to Louis Matt. And Louis Matt quite comfortable to Alfie, as we can see. It's Deeks up into fourth place, TMLS in fifth. Min Adam back up to sixth after his troubles at the start. And here's Deeks looking to make a move on Alfie. He'll have the inside line going into the corner. Will he go for it? No, thinks better of it this time round, too far back. Oh, that's not what Alfie will want there. Deeks have the run on him coming through the chicane. Can he get into the slipstream as we go on to the second lap here?
This first corner will be very crucial now, Matt. Deeks will be looking for a good run, whereas Alfie will be feeling the pressure.
Definitely, you're right there, Ben. You can see Deeks looking and looking, and he wants it.
Oh, he's hit the curb.
Yeah, but Alfie runs slightly wide, so that will not really help him. And Deeks made the mistake of clipping the curb, but Alfie gets away with it. But you can see Deeks looking and looking here, wanting to get the move done quickly. Looks up the inside now. Does he think about it? Yes, he does. Sends it up at the inside, and a very nice clean move there from Deeks. And he'll want to hunt down Rocket as quick as possible. As we see, Rocket must have made a mistake or something, because Louis Matt was 2 seconds behind and now leads by 2/10. So problems there for Rocket, maybe.
Yeah, as we keep mentioning, very quick layout, very easy to lose the rear, and potentially just went a little bit wide, maybe caught a wheel on the grass there, and that's allowed Louis Matt up to first. Gave a look to try and get away now. Looks to be the quicker of the two at the moment. But again, you can see the slipstream effect now as Rocket's going to have a look up the inside maybe. Thinks better of it.
I think better of it there. And oh no, he's done it in the end. A bit wide there from Louis Matt, and that allowed Rocket straight up the inside. And creates a bit of a half a second gap there. Saddle will try and get away now. Like you say, Rocket probably the quickest man on track at the moment. As we see the GT5 boys then all getting round safely. Quite a few gaps on track, unfortunately, and there you can see on screen the rain is beginning to fall. So where do the drivers think about pitting? The rain can come at any time. It's not set to come at a specific time, and that is TMLS deep into the corner.
Definitely
manages to avoid the wall. Tyler, go on the bud. Sorry,
just missed the pit entrance there. I was thinking TMLS might dip into the pit lane there for tyres after that incident.
Yeah, definitely. Tyler, just want to get your opinion. Have you raced in changeable conditions on project cars? If so, how long do you give it when the rain starts to fall before you pit?
Well, it kind of depends where you are, really. If I was the leader, I'd probably long it out as much as I can until I have to come in. But if I was running mid to bottom of the pack, as soon as I saw a couple of specks of rain, I'll probably take the chance and dive in, see whether you can jump anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Nobody we see in the pits at the moment. Obviously, all waiting for the track to get a bit wetter.
I think it'll depend a lot on driving styles as well, Matt. Some of those guys that like to get the car a little loose might fare better on the slick tyres in the wet weather. I might try run it a little deeper. But a few guys that are struggling will definitely be jumping into that pit lane, probably on this lap.
Definitely. We see Min Adam has a penalty there, as the number on the side next to his name is red, so he has a time second penalty. There's Dean Wasaki then. He's down in 7th place, side by side with Lil Trevor at the moment. He'll look to make as many places back as possible, try and gain positions. He was the pole man, many probably surprised that. Round the outside, nice move there from Dean Wasaki.
That's a great move. That's
just confidence for me. Lil Trev obviously a bit worried that it's raining, and Dean just seemed to have a bit more confidence there. Deeks got touched the back of TMLS there. Off he goes. So caught up to the back a little TMLS well there. Couldn't make the move done. Get the move done though, and that is Alfie on the back of him. Oh no, that is Alfie on board. Sorry, apologies.
I'll tell you what, guys, that rain does look like it's coming down heavy now, so I expect to see a couple of people maybe pull in soon.
We've lost Min Adam. Hopefully that's not through lag.
Rock and Louis Matt still out. TMLS still looks to be out. Have anyone dipping into the pit lane? Oh,
yeah,
Dean Wasaki and Lil Trev.
Yep, Dean Wasaki the first of the guys to pit then.
Very unusual pit layout here.
This is going to be the interesting thing. How many laps does Rocket and Louis Matt give it before they decide to come in? And how quick will Dean and Lil Trev be on their wet tyres?
Well, we see these guys in the pits. Good evening to Gary, Neil, Andrew in chat. TMLS in chat asks, is it a mandatory pit stop? Definitely is TMLS, so make sure to take one. Gary says, definitely need fillers, especially when Dean Wasaki is on pole. Definitely a surprise there. Graham Sutcliffe, aka Sully Apex from Group A, also agrees with Gary. We're waiting in the wings. So it looks like Dean has got out in front of Little Trev anyway.
Who's out in the pit? Swimfins has pitted as well. So these guys have done their mandatory pit stop. The gap up front now is 11 seconds.
You can see from the track map there, Rocket's almost completed a lap before the guys have left the pit, so it will be interesting now to see how quickly do they catch up on these wet tyres.
The other interesting thing, Ben, will be as well, have they got their strategies right? Have they made sure that the wet tyres will go on the car?
Yeah, Just to clarify, fuel usage is on as well, isn't it?
Fuel usage is on, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if guys maybe only started with half a tank, or do they just play it out and start with a full tank and opt to not put any more fuel in and just go for tyres. So
and as we can see here, like you were just about to say, everybody's sort of missing the braking zone into the pit lane. The wet weather really affecting that.
Oh, wow. That is very wet out there, isn't it?
And I tell you what, this gives little Trev and Dean Wysocki the chance here. 23 seconds behind, 40 seconds behind on track, you can see, but it's a long pit stop. It's a long pit lane as well. Alfie has stayed out.
Interesting, yeah. So Alfie, the only one who hasn't pitted so far.
Here comes Dean and little Trev, as you can see on the map there, just coming up to sector 2. As guys in the pits look like they're slowly leaving now. Obviously these guys were a bit further back on the grid as well, but Louis Matt leaves the pits.
Louis Matt got out and ahead of Rocket there.
That was interesting.
So it all depends, as you said, Matt, on their strategy. Just as we've seen that incident coming into the pit lane, I was talking about fuel usage. Perhaps Rocket could have started on a full tank, and he's after putting in more fuel by accident, so that will slow him down on track as well with that additional weight. So there is definitely a lot more to think about than on the usual championship nights for these guys.
Definitely. As well, have they made sure the right tyres go on? Swinfins we can see there in 8th. Nice to see Swinfins turn up. Made every session so far. Little Trev back. Dropped out halfway through, and he's back then. There's Alfie. And he loses it under braking. You're right, Ben. That'll be under the braking. The slick tyre's just not working. Probably a puddle as well.
And that's going to cost all his chances of doing the overcut there on the guys who've pitted.
You can see why he's gone for it, to try and create that gap. That's Louis Matt in the background you saw there with his lights on. Unfortunately for Alfie, that's possibly cost him not just the lead, but a couple of places as well. You can see Louis Matt and Rockets away from the pack. But that pack behind could gain on Alfie. He's still got half a track to go, a sector to go before he can get to the pits. TMLS up into 5th place.
It's a lot easier said than done in the wet, but these guys would really be looking to try use that slipstream and work.
It's
TMLS too.
Same place as Alfie.
Yeah. As I was just saying there, Matt, they want to try and use that slipstream together to gain as much time to the guys who haven't pitted, which is Alfie in this case.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, Ben. Also, you've got to watch for the puddles on these tracks. They can be quite terrible. He's into the pits. Tyler, what's your thoughts so far?
Yeah, it's been a bit carnage, isn't it, so far, like we expected. I think there is a bit of a puddle forming on that braking zone, which I've seen a few cars go wide, so that's going to be an extra challenge for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you looked...
pitted again. The guy's just there in the background.
Did he have slick tyres on then? Did he not put the wets on his first pit stop? Interesting to go back to Tyler's point there, Ben, on the puddle on the braking zone. If you actually seen Dean Wysocki before TMS braked, seemed to avoid something as if it was the puddle under the braking zone. Maybe that's something he's seen and capitalised on, as he's back into P2 and only has Rockets in front of him, has a 2-second gap to the car behind, so his earlier mistake has been undone in the rain so far.
The guys that pitted first, I think, have done a brilliant job. They got out early and they also had a clear track in front of them as well. When we saw everyone's kind of skidding into each other a lap or so later, I think the guys that pitted first, we're going to see them come through the field a bit.
Yeah, definitely. As Alfie and Louis Matt rejoin the track from the pit, Swinfin still not managed to get around and overtake them. But there's Deeks running in P4 at the moment. Just 1.2 behind Lil Trev. He's got a good 2.5 second gap to TMLS in the background. So Dean Wysocki's got a 13-second gap to pull on Rockets to gain, Time remaining 3.5 minutes near enough left.
Yeah, the track, the cameras on this game aren't really showing any of the puddles, so you can see Dean moving around trying to avoid something there, but we can't pick it up on the camera, unfortunately.
Can we try and pick up an onboard shot of that? See if we can see. I know Dean Wysocki was practicing last night with some of the guys that will be racing tomorrow, and we're trying to pick up a few of Iceman and Sutty and Gary's lines there. You can see a few puddles on
you can see a huge puddle on the left there.
As Dean managed to capitalise, sort of avoids the puddles, just drives through the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah, racing with his head there. That's smart. That's maybe what has caught a few drivers out here. Deeks on the back of him though, so Deeks has passed little Trev, because Deeks was 4th last time we got to him. There's little Trev with TMLS behind. TMLS will be wanting to gain an extra place with 2 minutes 46 on the clock. 1 minute 50 a lap, so 2 more laps left in this race. As little Trev crosses the line now.
It would be interesting to see the guys race on this track now in just dry weather. I think the likes of the GT4 race potentially could be an all dry race, just based on the difficulty of them cars, because I think on a dry track these guys will be a lot more bunched up and could bring a lot more overtaking. Yeah,
100%. Don't forget we lost 3 races in this race, so not as many battles as we'd have liked. The guys are evenly spaced. Tomorrow night, don't forget, join us for the top 6 of Group A versus the top 6 of Group B, where the likes of Ben and Tyler will be racing against some of the top guys from Group A and B at Knock Hill International. That should be a cracking race round there. Again, changeable conditions, same as tonight. What's your thoughts going forward for tomorrow night then, guys? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, alright. Haven't really done any testing, to be honest. I've been quite busy at the moment, so Knock Hill's a track I know well anyway, but definitely a lot of lobbies and a lot of online championships don't really run in wet weather, so not that much wet weather experience. So
and Rockets lost it on the start straight, and if Dean Wysocki can hurry up and try and close the gap going on to what will be the final lap, you can see the timer coming down between Dean and Rockets there. So interesting. Dean will obviously notice Rockets now going down the straight. A bit of pressure on Rockets maybe now going on to this final lap of the race.
Yeah, as wet weather conditions, like I was just saying beforehand, a lot of drivers haven't practiced them, so the race definitely isn't over till it's over. So just back to the Knock Hill point, definitely looking forward to it. It should be really good to mix with some of the top guys in the A class, like AMH and Iceman coming through, and then the likes of Sully Apex and Jack as well. So it should be in for a cracking race, and hopefully it'll be a little teaser for some cracking race and all next season in Class A.
Yeah, definitely. Hoping to get a few wins out of it tomorrow, Ben?
To be honest, I'm still on a high after my 3 wins last week. It's more than I had all season, so we'll take it as a bit of fun, and I'll be interested in maybe jumping in a bit of onboard commentary with you, Matt, maybe through some of the races, depending on how busy it is.
Yeah, of course. Tyler, your thoughts on tomorrow? What's your hopes to get out of tomorrow night?
I think it'd be great fun. In fairness, I think we'll see quite a fair bit of two-wheel action going through a couple of the corners, which could be interesting. But really resonating what Ben said, it'd be great just to kind of get the quickest guys on paper and put them on the track and go, off you go, boys, and see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. So join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock live on YouTube again, where Ben, Tyler will be going up against the likes of AMH, Iceman, Gary, Sutty, Neil, and a few others. As we can see, Rockets, he's maintained that lead. He's pulled a gap out now to Dean Wysocki again. Gap was down to 4 seconds. It's back up to 7 as he's going to come into the chicane for the final time, hoping to get it round and not lose it, as Dean Wysocki's closer than last time. Oh, and as I say that, the curse of the commentator doesn't seem to have lost it too bad, but for the first time tonight, it's going to be Rockets who's going to take the win. So congratulations to you. Dean Wysocki is going to come home in a very good second place for him. Well done, Dean. Deeks looks like he's going to take third. Oh, a bit bouncy off the curb there. Manages to keep it together, so Deeks gets the third place. It's going to be little Trev. The car's a bit spread out, like you said earlier, Ben. The cars are spread out a lot in these conditions. His swim fins in the background. He's got the modified version of the GT5. But little Trev is going to take 4th. All provided he can keep it on the track. Where's TMLS? There's swim fins. There's TMLS. He'll have the run through the chicane. Oh, a bit of a block there from Lil Trev, and that should give him the position because the line comes up pretty fast. So Lil Trev 4th, TMLS 5th. Louis Matt was a front runner in this, but had to do 2 pit stops, and it's really cost him here. And down in P6.
Yeah, looking at the lap times there, 59.1 on his last lap. Has he got it? Oh, he's slowing down there, coming across. Oh, he's going to reverse over the line by the looks of it.
Louis Matt deciding to reverse over the line. Like we say, it is a bit of fun for tonight and tomorrow night.
Just on a quick note there, Matt, I think I might try grab Rocket for an interview maybe.
Yep.
While we're waiting for the lobby to load up, just as we see Alfie and Swimfins completing.
Yeah, I think Swimfins has finished, hasn't he? He finished behind the leader, so as Alfie comes through, yeah, we can grab Rocket for an interview, that'd be cool. Alfie comes across, I don't think he's going to make the line, if I'm going to be honest with you, unfortunately there for Alfie. Tried to make a longer run work, but it's Rockets who takes the first win of the night in the Prestige Man Ginetta GT5. Dean Wasocki, your pole man, he got second. Deeks third, Lil Trev fourth, TMLS fifth, Lumat in sixth with Alfie seventh, Swimfins in eighth. We lost Min Adam, KJ Argent, and also Phil during all that, excuse me. Just looking at the chat here, Gary, well done Rocket, Neil, well done Rocket. Wacky Saki second, go on Alfie. The slicks bit me on the bum, and Sutty, well done boys. So like we say, changeable weather, the guys will be able to see what weather conditions we put on, as will you guys in the stream.
We may have to have a little bit of a delay just to try and get some of the guys back that we've lost.
Yep, definitely.
Definitely.
Unable to get Rocket at the moment.
Yep.
The evening.
Definitely. And just sort the session out so that it should start, qualifying should be in the middle of the day instead of at night time. I know a few of the guys in chat have said about that. See if Dean joins for an interview. Quite cool to get his opinion on his race, his pole position, and then he's obviously second place. So what are your thoughts on that first race then, Ben? We see the field bunched out obviously a bit.
Pretty quiet race, but hectic at the same time in a sense, with a few spins there towards the end. As we've got Dean in chat now. Dean, welcome. How's it going? We're just looking to get a few interviews with a few players, a few racers tonight. What are your thoughts on that first race? How did you enjoy the pit stops and the changeable conditions? Definitely, and surprised a lot of us in commentary here with that pole position lap. Did you surprise yourself going up against Diego's?
Dean, congratulations, mate. Talk us through that. Like I said, Ben said, talk us through that pole lap. What did you feel? How did you feel when you got pole position? Yeah. Yeah, no, brilliant, mate. What's your plans going into the Clio? Same sort of push? Brilliant, Dean. Well, best of luck for the rest of the evening. That was Dean Wasocki there then. So going into the Clios, obviously we know how tricky the Clios can be at times. Who are you tipping for pole position here then, guys?
Again, you'd have to look at, well, Dean Wasocki towards the end of the season has put in some great laps in the B class, so he should be well up there. KJ Argent, another Class A driver down the bottom end of the field, has put in some great Clio laps. We've seen him in 4th position at one stage in the finale of Brands last season, so I think KJ Argent could be an underdog for pole position here.
Tyler?
I'm quite liking Louis Matt for this one. He's been pretty solid in the Clios, and I think at Alton Park, where me, Ben and Louis had an almighty scrap for all of the race, so I think he's a good little driver.
Yeah, definitely. I think one to watch, like you say, is Kieran. If you watch the highlights package that Ben managed to whip up for the Group B guys, you can see the shock of Dean Wasocki running 4th in the Clios at one stage. You've also got Rockets in there as well. I think, Phil, don't forget Phil. I know he's a new boy and hopefully going to be looking to join next season. See what he can do. In chat saying people can't hear Dean, so I'm wondering if party settings haven't been set right on Dean's account to be able to hear him, so that's a shame.
That's a shame.
Just to recap, Dean was happy with his pole and plans to do the same here.
Perhaps after the next race we can guide one of the guys through to turn that party setting on and just have a bit more of an interval between the races. So I think that worked really well, getting someone in.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Hopefully this is something we can do throughout next season, maybe, especially with the championship winners towards the end of the season.
Next season will be fantastic.
Hope everybody's ready for next season. Join me and Ben live for the Group B co-commentary on a Wednesday night, and I do believe it's going to be Kieran and Daniel, aka KJ Argent, and TMLS, who's going to commentate on the Group A evening. Not 100% on Group A yet. That is a plan at the moment, but me and Ben definitely for Group B.
And we should be running at full capacity as well, 32 drivers.
That's what we like to see, 32 drivers on the grid, 16 in A, 16 in B. We've seen Louis Mack disconnect, hopefully he can come back. Tyler, you won the Clios. How did that feel? Did you win the Clios? You did, didn't you?
I did win the Clios, yeah.
You did, yeah.
It was brilliant. They're really, really good fun to drive. To be honest, the last lap at Brands, I was running in third and catching up to Gary, and I made a little bit of a silly move, which kind of scared me a little bit, but they're really fantastic to drive. And also, I think we need to shout out THR Racing UK, who join us every single time without fail, and are always kind of on the chats and whatnot, and they've been absolutely fantastic sponsors all season. I think everyone would agree with that.
Definitely.
Kudos to them. Always been great. I know Matthew will agree with me. Always been great supporters of the stream and interactive in chat as well. So it's great to see you guys here again tonight, and hopefully for a long time into the future.
Yeah, just to agree what both you guys have just said there. Tin Top donate. If you're not aware, Tin Top donated a trophy and a hat to the winner of Group A and Group B for the Clios for last season, which went to Tyler and Iceman. They're always on the stream. They're always there, giving their opinions and their predictions, although sometimes they don't always come off. I think they'll agree they're not the best at
They're usually writing me off.
Well, I think normally when they've made an opinion, the guy span or lost it or been hit or something. But no, great to see them here as always, as we're on board Dean Wasaki. Ben, let me get your opinions on these Clios. What are they like to drive?
I think they're the best out of the 5 classes we're going to see here tonight for action, definitely, as we've seen all season. Very loose on the back there, as you can see Dean getting a little sideways through the final corner. As Phil goes on pole position with a 1:43.5 just in the background there. Yeah, no, they're extremely fun to drive. You really have to be careful on the brakes and with your downshifts into corners, as you can kick out very easily, like the two guys just did there. I find it's quite easy to just brake in a straight line and make sure you've downshifted as well before turning that car, because the back end just completely gets sideways and you scrub a lot of speed and time through the faster corners. So definitely looking forward to getting back into them tomorrow night and for the rest of the season. A close battle all season with Tyler up front. Just was a little bit more consistent in the B Championship, so definitely looking forward to maybe getting a few more wins under my belt next season.
Yeah, definitely. As we can see then, Phil is on pole from Rockets by 2.5 seconds, so a cracking time from Phil. Dean Wasaki's 3rd, KJ Argent 4th at the moment. And Adam in 5th. He's in the pit, so he's obviously backed out of his lap. Deeks in 6th, Alfie 7th, TMLS 8th. Little Trevor Swinfins hasn't set a time. I believe we've lost Louis Matz. That's possibly him done for this race. Hopefully he can sort his problems out for the next race. Sutty in the chat, big Phil fan. So will his man get pole, or will Dean Wasaki take? Got a lot of time to make up, 2.8 seconds. But we can see there he's 2.3 up, so a possibility of taking pole away from Phil here.
I think Phil will be definitely he's a very unknown driver in terms of this league, but I think he'll be right up there at the front of the A class next season if he gets in. He'll be a great addition to the league for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you say there, Ben. As Dean goes 200ths and Phil drops to 2nd as Deeks puts it on pole by 1/10 of a second from Phil. Dean Wasaki obviously now 4/10 behind. Rockets crosses the line, he doesn't improve. KJ Argent No improvement from himself neither. So Deeks come out of nowhere for pole position there. But half a second splits them up. TMLS coming around the final chicane, a bit sideways through the first bit, loses it into the second bit, so he's not going to improve there neither.
Exactly what I was talking about, Matt. In those higher speed corners, if you touch that brake and try turning at the same time, the car is going to get very loose like that, and you really have to control it, and it does take a lot of practice and experience to get used to them.
Yeah, 100% completely agree with you there. But for the first time tonight, Deeks is on pole in the THR Racing UK Renault Clio Cup, with Phil in second on what is now probably his debut race, as he missed the last one. Dean Wysocki takes a third, Rockets in fourth, KJ Argent fifth, Min Adams sixth, Alfie in seventh, TMLS eighth, Swinfin's ninth, and Lil Trev in 10th. We lost Louis Matt there, unfortunately. But for Deeks, poles, we've had a Deeks and a Dean on pole at the minute. Dean in third place, so he's top three in both qualifyings at the moment. But what can Phil do on his debut race here? Kieran saying on the chat that the end of the Hangar Straight is dangerous, so I presume he's meaning into the braking zone then. As we just
could be his driving he's talking about, of course.
Potentially. Bit of banter from Tyler there, Kieran. Proving wrong in this race, hopefully, as you start P5.
Looks like we're having a bit of sinking issues going on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think you have to wait for the drivers, don't you, to ready up. So we're ready for the THR Racing UK Renault Clio Cup. It's green, we go. Poor start there from Phil. That's a good start from, is that Rockets round the outside of Phil. Dean looks to come through the middle, a bit of a collision in the background, but these four very close. Deeks got off the line brilliantly. Dean Wysocki up into second place off the line then, and Phil dropped to fourth. Oh, so close. Dean touches the curbs. There's Deeks. That's Phil on the outside of Dean Wysocki. All very close together at the minute. Rockets on the inside.
Looks like Lil Trev and TMLS had an incident there in the background.
I think they had an incident. Or was that Min Adam and TMLS? Yeah. TMLS both times off the start lines had an incident. But it's Deeks off the line who leads. Dean Wysocki second. Oh! Sorry, Ben. Someone up the inside there punched Dean Wysocki off, and Kieran. I didn't quite catch who that was. The yellow car there, you can see just rejoining. I think, is that Min Adam?
Looks to be the Lagmobile causing trouble again.
Oh, that's a shame. Dean running so well, as was Kieran and Rockets. They've both been wiped out. What can they do from here? But Deeks out front has the advantage so far from Alfie in second. Wysocki's managed to get back up to third place, even though he got punted off the track there. So good job to him. That's been Adam off in the background again, and I do believe that's
Swinfin's
with him. That's Swinfin's with him. Oh, caught up in a bit of a tangle there. Like you say, Ben, the Lagmobile, Min Adam. It's sometimes hard to judge where he's going to quite be on track. Phil looking around the outside of TMLS. He went off on the start line, so he's been able to get back into this race by a few others being shunted off. Kieran down.
All this carnage has allowed Little Trev up to fourth now after that start line incident with TMLS. So we know he's quick. Let's see if he can get onto the back of Dean Wysocki here.
Now is Little Trev there trying to throw us off in the commentary box? He had his wipers on. Now that's either raining very early. I can't see nothing on screen, but I saw his wipers go. And is that Dean on Alfie there? Alfie looked like he ran wide onto the grass, and yeah, Dean Wysocki takes second place here. So he really, as he said in his interview, head down and go again. He really seems to be on that tonight.
Alfie looks to have a slowdown as well.
Yeah, unfortunately for Alfie, and I do believe the rain is starting to spit now.
Yeah, I can see it there on the screen. This is going to, these Clios are loose enough as it is in the dry. Oh, who's that? I've just seen someone go off there in the background. Can't pick them up. Apologies, Matt.
No problem there, Ben. What's your thoughts so far then, Tyler? Kieran, not the best to start from him. He obviously got taken out on the corner.
Well, we was promised carnage and close racing, wasn't we? It's certainly not disappointed so far, and the rain's not even really coming down yet. If it was me, I'd probably pit early, because like Ben was saying, they're incredibly loose as it is. As soon as I feel the rain, I'd be straight in if that was me. We'll see what the guys think.
Yeah, definitely. We can see Deeks out 4 seconds in front of Dean Wysocki, then Lil Trevor further second behind him. But here's Kieran, KJ Argent behind Phil.
It's going to be a difficult one to handle on tyres, even if the guys went in for wets at the pneu mat. It's going to take a while for them to heat up. But KJ Argent very sideways there.
Seemed to throw it in a bit later on the brakes, maybe. And that's Min Adam again. You can see he slide off, and then the lag brings him back on. Yep, agree with you there, Ben. It doesn't seem wet enough for wets at the moment. So you get an extra lap in. Deeks comes across. He's not pitted. Dean Wysoki's not pitted, but Lil Trev's in, so he's in early. This will be interesting to see. Rocket's also in. That's Alfie in the pits as well. So learnt from his Ginetta mistake probably. Phil's also into the pits. Kieran stays out. Clips the wall there. The Lagmobile's out as well.
Will be interesting to see about the guys that have stayed out, because of course, like you were saying earlier, if you pit too early for wets, then with the tyre wear on, they will chew through them and overheat.
Yeah, very interesting this then. They don't seem to change the tyres on Little Trev's car there. He just seems to come in there.
A very quick stop, yeah.
So interesting, he may have to come in again as the rain comes down. 10 minutes 40 left on the clock. It's Deeks, Dean and Kieran. Min Adam in 4th. They've all stayed out. TMLS just jumping into the pits now. There's Rockets, he comes out the pits. Winner of the first race.
Phil with a very long stop.
Yeah, I wonder if he's left his repair damage on here and has had a bit of damage. That can take a while to do. Min Adam's disconnected, unfortunately. And Dean Wysoki is within 2 seconds now with Deeks. Was 4 seconds behind earlier. Seems to drive well in the wet, does Dean, even though he's on slicks at the moment. Does he have a bit more confidence than Deeks? See the track not too wet at the moment, no puddles forming. You can see a bit of spray from the back of these Clios, but nothing too major at the moment.
Have a look on board with Dean. Any puddles on track coming into the treacherous chicane we seen earlier? Will either of them dive into the pits?
Yeah, Deeks looks like he's going to jump into the pits, and Dean Wysoki follows. Both seem to struggle to get that slowed down. His tyres all over the track through the chicane. Now where's Kieran? He's further behind. Does he pit this lap? I mean, Adam was 4th. He's obviously disconnected, so we've lost him. So then Lil Trev we've seen in and out the pits dead quick. Will he re-pit again? So the first of the pit stop lads is Rockets in 5th.
He's very struggling there too. It looks like he's still a slicks on by the looks of it.
Yeah, he was in and out the pits very quick, so I wonder if they just sort of splash and dash on the fuel there. Rockets has gone off. Oh, and round he goes. He not managed to save it. Touches the wall. That straightens him up. There you go. Lil Trev drifting into the pit lane there, look, and spins it round. So he has got to do another pit stop. But Deeks first. Rockets. Oh dear. Straight into the pit wall there.
I still think he might come out in first place.
Yeah, I reckon you're right here. Dean Wysoki and Deeks leaving the pit lane now. Their cars seem to have merged together, because that's 2 liveries in one there. There you go. So who's going to win the race out of the pit lane? Here comes Rockets into turn 1 now. Deeks has got the edge out of Dean Wysoki in the pit lane then, but Dean Wysoki all over the back of him. Rockets couldn't get that job done, but managed to gain a place on KJ Argent.
I tell you, if it wasn't for those 2 instants for Rocket on those last 2 corners, he would be clear up the road.
He'd be well in front
with 8
by
minutes
now.
to go.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. As Deeks runs wide coming out of the second corner, and where's Dean Wysoki to just jump up the outside? Now he must have had a bit of traction problems coming out of the corner himself, but they're side by side coming down what is the Hanger Straight. There's Rockets.
He's had an instant there too. We can hear it in the background. Off again.
Unfortunately for Rockets, he doesn't seem to do as well in the wets. We've seen in the GT5s he had a few spins at the chicane. Phil up into 4th now. He's also jumped KJ Argent. He managed to come back up into 5th. But that's Dean Wysoki who's in the lead now from Deeks. Now can he get his head down and pull away? But Deeks, I think he's had a slow down penalty there, Ben, with the looks of that.
Yeah.
Seems to give that back way too easy.
Slow down or potentially maybe contact, because Deeks was ahead on the Hanger Straight, so it'd be very unusual for Dean just to get ahead there, unless he was, because he was 7/10 behind. So maybe a little touch to Deeks.
Yeah, possibly. Swim fins in the pits.
Phil looks to be quick enough now after getting that damage fixed to the car. Will he be able to close up? It looks like he will get KJR. Oh, that's Rocket.
is that Rocket's had a slowdown penalty there then, because that's KJ Argent who's back up into 3rd place, and it's Phil now in 4th, so Rockets must have had a slowdown. He's off there again. Seems to be struggling in the wet, Ben.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just going to say, Phil looks to have the better of KJ Arden for speed, and would he be able to close up to Rocket? That's already been answered for me. So 13 seconds to the leaders at the moment, so unlikely Phil will be able to catch up unless there is a big incident up front. 5 minutes remaining, there's still a lot of time in this TR race.
Definitely, and as you can see, it is Deeks who leads by 2.1 seconds. As you can see from the times though, Tyler, TMLS with a 151.7 and Phil with a 151.3, all the others in the 2 minutes. That's quick from them two.
Yeah, it looks like they've kind of accustomed themselves to get their heads around the car, the track and the weather. So I think, to be honest with you, the most difficult part is just getting your head around the changing conditions.
Definitely, as you can see, Phil on the back of Kieran, wanting this 3rd place on his debut. Like Ben said earlier, a lot of work to do to gain to the leaders, but anything in the rain can happen, and that's Kieran wide, but I think Phil was slow through the corner. He didn't seem to get a decent run out of there. The leaders coming into the chicane now for what will be the 5th time, going on to lap 6. There's Dean Wasocki in 2nd place, just 2.3 seconds behind, but we're back to the battle with Phil, who's closer than ever here. Doesn't think about doing it through the chicane. That's probably a wise move coming through this part.
Phil looks very controlled in the wet. You don't see the rear of that Clio twitching too much, Matt.
No, definitely, completely agree with you there. And you see Kieran do the fastest lap last time round, a 150.0, whereas Deeks did a 150.4 and Phil a 150.1. So Phil quick, even though he's following Kieran here. He's still got pace in that car, even though he's right behind another. Rocket's in the pits again. So a disastrous race for him. It's gone from bad to worse.
There's no damage isn't turned on. Is it?
No, damage is set to visual
yeah,
only.
so I just thought potentially that was why he came in, but obviously maybe a wrong choice of tyre. It looks like he still has slicks on from that graphic.
They are slicks. What they look like,
the
the slicks that they've pulled off. Has he gambled, or did his pit stop? He pitted first, didn't he, Ben? He was the first of the guys to pit.
I think so, yeah.
So did they not put the right tyre on? It's took him a couple of laps to try it, and it's obviously not worked. But here's Phil looking up the inside of Kieran off the hanger straight and gets the job done. Easy to lose it though in the wet with these cars. Sorry, Ben.
A reason for the potential mistakes in the strategy could be with the likes of only a 5-minute qualifying session here, Matt. You can't change your strategy in the lobby. You can only change it when you get to the track. So while they're in the pit lane, they'd be able to edit their race strategies. Perhaps maybe they aren't getting time with the only 5-minute qualifying session, or even in between qualifying and the race. Whether it's I know for when you're reading up, it's only a minute and a half you've got before the race starts, unless it's straight. I think it's straight to a race start anyway, without any readying up. So potentially might have to be looked at for next season to give the guys a bit more time to adjust the strategies.
Yeah, definitely. That is very true. And Phil just can't seem to get the move done on Kieran Argent here. Seems to get close, but they're not close enough to make a move, or if he does go for a move, Kieran seems to close the door well on him. Gap up front is 1.9 seconds, so Dean Wasocki bringing the gap down, but it's Phil who's 4/10 behind KJ Argent here. How important is it, Tyler, that to make sure when you're on track, if you can't change your setup or your pit strategy in between the race and qualifying, how important is it to make sure you've done it during your session?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally would probably sacrifice a lap of qualifying, or a lap or two of qualifying, just to make sure that I've got the setup right, because it's make or break in a race.
Completely agree with you there. Phil still 4/10.
Depending on different wheel setups as well, guys could have buttons mapped for different setups, depending on when the rain does come. So it really does depend on personal preference for these guys. Some guys using the wheel, some guys using the pad.
Definitely, Ben. I'm going to have to cut in there as Phil goes up the inside off the hanger straight, a bit sideways, but manages to keep Kieran behind him there, and that's the job done for third. Back to Ben's. Apologies.
Yeah, nothing really to add, Matt. Just a lot of different preferences for wheel and pad. As just trying to think who is the leading pad driver.
I think it's Dean Wasocki. I'm not sure about Deeks. Kieran's off in the background, so that battle has ended poorly there for him. Defended so well. and just runs off into the grass. Phil though up to third, but up front the gap's coming down, and it's Dean Wysocki who's going to put Deeks under pressure as we've got a minute 18 left. So this will be the final lap of the race, and it's Dean Wysocki putting Deeks under pressure. Yeah, going back to the pad and wheel comment, I'm not sure what Deeks runs, but I know Dean Wysocki runs on the pad.
Deeks runs pad as well. I did speak to him earlier about it.
So there we go then.
Good running from the two of them. Dean nearly wide, especially in this wet weather conditions, will be very tricky to handle a car. So I would have thought a wheel would be more easy to handle when the car gets sideways in these conditions. But these guys obviously proving me wrong ahead of those on a wheel.
Yeah, they seem to be doing a cracking job. And hats off to the guys who do race with a pad in these conditions. It's not the easiest, but these two making it look very easy at the moment. As we are on the final lap down the Angle Straight, there's swim fins you can see at the bottom of camera, but it's about these two at the minute. There's a second gap. Well, Dean Wysocki managed to close in any. Will Deeks be able to hold it till the end?
Got a back marker in front of us too. Swim fins, is he going to play a part in this?
Does he move out the way? We've had trouble with back markers in Group B all season. Dean Wysocki on the grass looks like he made a mistake. Deeks seemed to have to go around swim fins there. He seems to have kept out the way though, kept to his line and not looked to bother anybody. Gap's down to 7/10. Dean looks like he's really tickling the throttle around the corner, while Dean Wysocki looks to really be putting the pressure on now as he's within 3/10 on the final lap. We've only got a couple of corners to go down this straight into the chicane, and that's the race done. But Dean Wysocki, if he can get in the slipstream, may have a good run into the chicane here. I know it's all a bit of fun as an end of season thing, but for these guys it's a chance to get a few wins and podiums under their belt. You've got to make the move, Tyler, am I right?
Absolutely. It's either first or in a barrier, isn't it, surely?
100%, but it's going to be Deeks who takes the win from Dean Wysocki. Second place again for him tonight. The man on debut, I know Sutty will be pleased with this, it's Phil. He's going to come home in third place. Fantastic drive from him on the podium. KJ Argent's going to get fourth. Good strong race for him considering he got taken out on lap 1. TMLS is going to get fifth. Another good strong result to say he got taken out on the start line. Oh, he's gone round. Oh dear, where's little Trev? Too far back, he reset the car there, did TMLS. He's going to come home in fifth. The lap time's not too far apart from each other, I've noticed, with these guys, so good close battles. They've, provided the gaps don't spread out and incidents don't happen, could be some good racing.
Definitely. I think Dean Wysocki will be a little bit annoyed there not taking the race win. He seemed to be a little bit quicker than Deeks, but just a few mistakes running wide in these treacherous conditions has cost him that race victory, in my opinion. Made the mistake, didn't he, behind Swimfin. We've seen Dean in the background run wide. Did that cost him the race win? This man as well, Rocket, could have been on pole or in first, apologies, after those pit stops, but just two incidents towards the end of the lap cost him the chance of a race victory as well. Yeah, definitely. Didn't have the right tyres on. Oh, he tries, keeps it together well there. We've seen him though, both in the GT5 and the Clios. He's not looked strong in the wet. Alfie there comes home in 8th place, and Swimfins brings up the rear in 9th. Louis Matt didn't get underway and Min Adam disconnected, but it's Deeks who takes the win from Dean Wysocki. Phil in 3rd on his debut, KJ Argent 4th, TMLS is in 5th, Lil Trev 6th, Rockets in 7th, Alfie 8th, and Swimfins in 9th place. I'm not going to look at best laps because we know the thing that happened in the finale of the Group B between Ben and Tyler.
It worked perfectly fine for me.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Consistency through the season, and just Tyler was a little bit more consistent than me. Particularly a bad first round in Donington for myself, and also in Snetterton I had 2 spins by myself. That probably cost me the championship. But
well, I wouldn't even say it's consistency, to be fair, Ben. You ended up on the wrong end of every single instant there possibly is. Most unluckiest driver in history.
We'll cut it short there from Red Ties. Deeks 45 joins us. Craig, congratulations, first win for the night. Can you sum up that race for us?
tell us what was going through your mind at the final chicane when you seen Dean Wasocki right behind you. What was going through your mind there?
Sorry to interrupt you, Craig. The streamers can't hear you, or the viewers can't hear you at the moment. So could we just maybe check your settings to see?
If you go into the party settings and always allow on the broadcast thing. Is that any better, guys?
We'll just see if the guys can hear and chat, and we'll start the interview again.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's not your fault. Just a thing we're trying out.
Yeah.
If someone could so kindly let us know in chat. We'll start the interview again.
Guys, on the YouTube channel, how do you get the comments back up?
Yeah, I do. I've just played my YouTube there. I can hear you. So, Ben, if you want to ask your question again.
Yeah, so Craig, congratulations on your first victory tonight. Can you sum up that race?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really good. The Clios are really interested in the wet. If you sort of feather the throttle, you can almost use the throttle to steer the back. But yeah, no, it was really good. I think the pit stops are interesting as well.
What do you think? What did you think to the final chicane where Dean Wasocki was all over the back of you on the final lap?
Yeah, so I went sideways, sort of more or less 90 degrees on the last lap, or second to the last corner. So I gave him quite a bit of time. I just tried to look in the mirrors and just went for the chicane.
What's your thoughts on the pit stops? Obviously new tonight with the changeable conditions. A fan of it?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think the most difficult thing is if you pile into the pits and there's a lot of you, you sort of cloud on top of each other, if that makes sense, when you come out of the pits. So it's probably easier to try and get in there on your own, or just maybe with one other.
Hopefully, if you're one of the front runners, try and make an early pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tyler, anything you want to add?
Well, the question I have to ask for you, Dick, so again, congratulations, is after the last chicane which you was talking about, are your underwear the same colour as they started with?
Yeah, no, I shit myself earlier.
Well, best luck for the rest of the night, buddy.
Yeah, no, thank you, guys.
What's your plan going forward to the GT4s?
Oh, I love the GT. It depends on the weather, doesn't it? GT4s in this weather will be absolutely atrocious.
Well,
but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got something up your sleeve.
Best of luck to you, Ben. Esmin Adam has joined back, as Louis Matt he has. Best luck to you, sorry, Craig.
Thank you.
And
right,
best luck for the rest of the evening.
Cheers.
Matt, just quickly, how do you feel about getting perhaps a filler or two in, or be looking good on grid size? Completely up to you guys.
What have we got on the grid? There's 11 on the grid and we keep losing a few. Who are you thinking?
Whoever's the fastest finger on the YouTube comments, I reckon.
Let's see who puts in the comments there then.
Yeah, so
Ben,
we've got four spaces.
Ben, GT4s, obviously we know what happened at Silverstone, which kind of ruined your chances at the title. A car you enjoy driving?
Yeah, it definitely is. And eat and feather that throttle in on exit, or you will go around in circles. We've seen so many times throughout the championship. So it is definitely a car I look forward to driving again next season with the top guys, and will be interesting depending if there will be rain or not for this race. It could turn into an ice rink. We're not too sure.
And Tyler, you obviously had a good battle with Gary in the GT4s.
Yes, very interesting battles, certainly. But no, these are an absolute pig to drive. So the problem is when you're running close with someone, it is quite easy to come together if you get a little bit of like a power slide on.
We've got no one. Oh, Gary's coming in, I think, by the looks of it, and Sutty.
Yeah, we can get both them invites. And what I will say to everyone that's watching and the guys that are on the stream is that anyone that does join in as a filler will not be classified because they've got their own race tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. make it fair on the guys. So wherever they finish, we won't count. Make it fair on the guys who's here tonight, just to make the numbers up. Hopefully, a bit better driving, a few more battles throughout the racing. Just watch out for Gary. He enjoys a good punt or two.
He enjoys spinning me round. He'd be fine this race. I'm not in it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll appreciate me saying that he enjoys hitting the odd one or two guys.
He enjoys getting a bit of practice in other lobbies because he just can't handle our raw pace. He needs a bit of practice.
What does he play? Wreckfest?
I like your suggestion there, Mark. I reckon that's quite fair. If Gary and the fillers decide to not qualify, retire from qualifying and start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, that's a really good shout, actually. So Gary and Sutty, anyone that wants to join, if you are listening, please do not set a lap in qualifying. You're starting from the back.
Just repeat that for Gary. Gary, you're at the back, just to make sure you're with us on that one. Obviously, the Genetic GT4, sponsored by the Hard Compound, it has been for this season and hopefully for many seasons going forward. Would this be a car you'd both be happy to keep in future series on the thing? I know, Ben, you got asked the question in the Group A stream a few weeks back, which car would you like to see go? You said the Porsches.
Yeah, and I think maybe looking back on that, I might withdraw that comment after my performance in Brands Hatch. But yeah, no. Back to your original question about the GT4, I definitely look forward to racing the next season. It is a difficult car to drive in the sense of those with a bit more experience of sim racing seem to handle it better, and we've seen that in Class B, particularly a huge range of skill level in this car, and it did unfortunately affect race results on numerous occasions. But look, that's this season, and all the guys will have more experience under their belt for next season. In terms of car I would think of getting rid of, it would have been the Porsche, as it just is a little bit too fast for some of the circuits. The likes of Oldham Park, for example, it struggles around there to keep straight. But at the same time, I'm quite happy with it. It's one car I feel I'm probably fastest in out of the five. I guess in a way I wouldn't get rid of any of them now, but if I had to, it would probably still be the Porsche just based on sheer pace. I think the GT4s provide closer racing. It would be a toss between both of them, I'd say, for the majority of the drivers in both classes.
Tyler, same to you. Do you think that the GT4s is something to keep going forward in seasons, or what would you like to see?
I think they're absolutely brilliant, to be honest with you, GT4s. It's the one car that you can't particularly jump in and just drive. The Clios, the GT5s, and even the touring cars to an extent are relatively easy to drive. But when I drive this race in the league meetings, I'm normally sweating absolute buckets by the end of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Even the top guys in Class A and Class B, we at least face the wrong way once or twice a race.
Yeah, 100%. I can back you up on that one. I've been the wrong way in these cars plenty of times.
It happens a lot on the first lap when you're battling side by side. You get a little bit too excited and put the foot down a little bit too early, and you can get away with it in a lot of the other cars, but definitely not in this GT4.
No, completely agree with you.
No, exactly that. You want to try to move, you've got to get your foot down earlier, and quite often you end up facing the wrong way.
So as we can see then, we've got 12 runners for this race. Welcome to Gary and Sut Apex, who won't be qualifying in this one. I do believe we'd lost me in Adam. Not sure if he's reconnected. He disconnected a while back now. So for the runners in this, obviously we're not including Gary and Sutty in this one. Who's your money on for pole and who's your money on for the race?
Well, I think this one, we could see a shocker in this one, I think. The only one name that comes to mind would be Deeks. He's been quick through the season in Class B on the likes of myself and Tyler's toes and Gary's toes. He's been up there with the front runner, so I would, as he goes a little sideways there, as we give a little commentator's curse again, but I do think Craig will be up there. Other ones, I mean, Rocket's been pretty quick all night in the dry, so if the weather does stay dry, he should be up there as well.
Yeah, I mean, so looking at the final points table there, Deeks, like you said, actually is the highest finisher from the Group B lads to beat Monkey Boy, just finished behind Holty, not by many. and then you have to drop a couple of positions till Monkey Boy's not here yet, Peaceful Explosion's not here. So Dean Wasocki closely followed by TMLS. Looking at the Group A lads, obviously we have got a few Group A guys in here as well. You look at Kieran, he scored 74 points, which would have been around where Dean Wasocki and TMLS scored, so plenty of things to be done. Gary seems to be on track, and not, as does Sutty, even though they're not meant to put a lap in.
I'm guessing probably what they're doing, which in fairness is what I would do, most racers would do, they're probably going to try and get away with doing 3/4 of a lap without us noticing, so they can get a little bit of practice in.
Yeah.
I think we'll
that's
see
Louis
a lot
Matt
of
off.
cars going wide.
Louis Matt's not done many of these races this season. I believe he jumped out of this in the Porsche, didn't he, in the Group B class. So a car he's not drove a lot. Hopefully he can drive tonight, obviously with always being fun. There's Dean Wasocki, there's Phil, Deeks, he's around
He's
here.
off again.
Watch out for Phil again. Obviously unknown, like Ben said in the previous race in the Clio Cup. Hopefully Phil will be with us next season. We can see what Phil can do. Getting a bit of a sneak peek tonight.
Will be really interesting to see what he can do, especially in this car. This is probably the test of character. This car, if you do well here, 9 times out of 10, you're a pretty solid driver.
Don't be alarmed. That's not Gary going slow. That's just his actual out and out pace in this car. As we can see on board with Phil, then.
I actually have to run and grab a charger, guys, so I think this will be a great time for Matt, for you to talk us through a lap on board with Phil. Maybe we'll see what the new guy's got when he gets around the last 2 corners.
Certainly. Just change the view for me, Ben, and I can do that. As we see, the first time that's came in is Kieran Argent, 1:39.2. Surprisingly, in a 5-minute qualifying, we've only seen the one time. There's Lou Matt at 1:50. Is that Deeks? That's Dean Wasocki on a 1:47. Lil Trev does a 1:41 as Phil comes through the chicane for the final time tonight. Not the final time. Down the start straight, then he starts his lap. He's just put it in second on a 1:40.8. So can he improve this time round? Where do you pick his braking zone for turn 1? Nice and easy on the throttle, you can hear. Eases it down, tries not to touch the curb. Flat out, probably around this corner, this little left-hander before you get to your braking zone for the right-hander. Sutty's back in the pit, so that's good. Brakes there again. Just very easy on the throttle. Lets it roll into the corner a bit there. Struggled to get around that. You can see a car off to the left-hand side. On the power, flat out through the left-hand bend onto what is the hanger straight. Where does he brake here? Does he use the board, the 100-metre board? No. Late breaker, lets it roll in a bit there on the throttle and bang, power down mid-corner. Qualifying's complete. He's got to find a second and a half from somewhere, unless Kieran Argent can go quicker. Right-hander, this can be a tricky corner, can catch a few people out. Looks a bit quicker than what it actually is, but around the right-hander he goes, to the left, bring it back across to the right-hand side. Flat out through here should be. Does he lift? No, foot flat to the floor. Out to the right, bring it back across to the left, ready for the chicane. Pick your braking zone. Nice on the brakes there. You've got to be very easy on the throttle. Try not to touch the curbs, they can bounce you a bit. And around the final bend, does he improve? Who's that on pole? That's Deeks on pole. Phil goes second. So Kieran Argent third. Dean Wasocki's down to fourth. Lil Trev's in fifth. Louis Matt, TMLS in the pit, 6th, 7th. Alfie's 8th, and that's qualifying done. So Deeks takes his pole position after his race win. It's Phil on second, Kieran in third, Dean Wasocki 4th, Lil Trev in 5th, Rocket 6th, Louis Matt 7th, TMLS 8th, Alfie 9th, Gary in 10th, Swimfins 11th, Sutty 12th. Not sure why Gary's in front of Swimfins, but that's the way it's gone.
Gary,
no time set.
He can't take it fair. He's just trying to sneak every position up the starting grid.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't know the definition of fun.
No, he probably hit Swimfins off at one point, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, it might be worth saying, guys, sorry to interrupt, is that I'm right in thinking this is a all dry race, isn't it? So it might be worth just the guys that are listening, just bear that in mind with your pit stops.
Yep, so a full dry race here, no wet race for this one due to the tricky
paying
conditions
attention in the lobby, I'm sure they've seen the weather, so there will be hopefully no. If not, it's their own fault.
But it's Deeks on pole and we're away, and that's a good start on the outside. I believe that's Dean Wysocki who storms into the lead off the line there. There's Kieran in third. Phil not off the line well again, but Dean Wysocki from fourth to first into turn one. Are we all around safely? Keep it nice and clean. Dean's round. Power down probably a bit too early. A few cars round, not just Dean, but it's Deeks in the lead. It's Phil second. Rockets is up to third. Good start for him. Alfie's fourth. Louis Matt's into fifth. Swim Fins is up to sixth. Sutty's into seventh and Gary's eighth. Gary caused all them to spin off there. You just know it. Lil Trev, KJ Argent, TMLS and Dean Wysocki down to the back of the grid after what was a fantastic start. So don't forget, Gary and Sutty will not score, will not be classified in this, but it's Deeks 2 seconds out in front. You can see at the minute is TMLS.
TMLS has had rotten luck tonight for him.
The starts for TMLS have not gone well, have they?
This man, as we predicted, Deeks out in front at the moment.
Not the best of starts from Deeks, though. Dean Wysocki got a great start off the line. There's a car round in the background.
That's Alfie by the looks of it.
Yep, Alfie off, unfortunately for him. Loves the GT4s, does Alfie. Any comment, Ben?
No, we'll leave it there.
But it's Phil in second. He's got a nice 1.5 second gap behind to Louis Matt, who doesn't normally race in these cars, hasn't most of the season, but doing well so far.
Good progress from him. Sutty up to fifth and Gary.
You can see Sutty and Gary goes for a lunge, does it, makes it work. That's the cleanest move Gary's made all season.
Again, no comment there.
Where's Dean? Dean, who got the good start, he's down in 9th. As you can see, that's Kieran off into the wall, comes on just in front of Swimfins. TMLS is down in 11th. Alfie's got back going, but he's 12th at the minute. Phil looks to have closed that gap up front, Ben. Is he just stronger than Deeks in certain places of the track, do you reckon?
Yeah, we'll have to see come for the next time around based on lap times. Obviously, a little bit slower there for the first lap contact. But I think we've had someone off. In the background, Rocket is gone off.
Rocket off. Someone else on the bottom of your screen you saw there as well. There's Dean Wysocki though. He's going to gain a few places maybe here.
But yeah, no, Phil is closing that gap down to 1.1 now. So it will be interesting now.
There's Deeks wide on the edge to the corner, and he's round, so that'll give Phil the lead here. Sorry to cut in there, Ben, but Deeks round as he tried to rejoin the track. That's put Sutty and Gary up to second and third. Obviously won't be classified.
I was just going to say that Deeks will see on the timing screen. These drivers do have the timing screens on their hood, so Deeks would have seen Phil closing in there. Maybe it just tried to push a little bit too hard, then ends up running wide, and has ended up now down at 6th, unfortunately for him.
It's a tricky corner, is that one, coming off the hanger straight. You've got to get your braking right to make sure you're not too eager on the throttle. And Deeks, obviously, as we saw, around wide, probably a bit too eager on the throttle as he breaks into the chicane. That's Rockets in front. He's had some rotten luck tonight. He's made a mistake there, and Deeks, good move. And who's that off as well? Can't quite see who that is. Well, that's Louis Matt into the wall.
I think it was Lil Trev got it at a moment there, and has hit into Louis Matt, who's ran off wide as well.
Oh, fortunate for Louis Matt.
Just seen a chat there, TMLS asking is pit stop still mandatory? Maybe Tyler, you could back us up there as an admin. Still mandatory pit stop for this race?
Yep, still mandatory pit stops in all race. The question I've got to ask on that particular matter to you two guys is, with it being an all-dry race, what would your strategy be? Would you come in early and try and get a bit of clear air, or would you kind of hang it out as long as you can?
I'll let Ben answer that first.
I was going to let you answer, Matt, because I don't want to be giving away all my secrets for tomorrow night.
Fair point, fair point.
Tyler trying to get every inch out of it, so I'll let you answer that one.
He's caught me out. He's caught me out.
I think personally, Tyler, I think what I do is try and stick it out, create a good gap. Obviously, Phil here doesn't have to worry about Sutty and Gary behind, so if you look at his gap to what is Deeks now, he's 7 seconds. If he can go as long as possible, try and extend that gap even further, it should be a relatively easy pit stop, just a splash and dash if anything.
Let's hope these guys know they still have to pit, because I'm surprised I didn't see one or two of the guys caught up in incidents dive into the pits at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, 100%. This could give the likes of KJ Argent and TMLS at the back a chance to gain some positions if they pit earlier than the other guys. As we can see, Gary just not being able to stay on the back of Sutty. Sutty just too quick for him here, and he's right on the back of Phil, we can see. That's Little Trev in the wall again. Problems at the chicane for Little Trev. That's also Rockets and Louis Matt. Rockets looked like he was a bit slow through there. Not seeming to get that chicane right tonight, Ben, for Rocket.
No, definitely not. We've seen Little Trev go off and hit into Louis Matt the lap before, and he's gone off again there. Quite a tricky chicane, particularly in these cars. You know, you're potentially trail braking into the first part of that chicane and then getting on the power early for the switchback could easily just unsettle that car. So we'll see Alfie getting into the pits first there.
So Alfie then, I do believe, is the first of the pit. First two pit areas, the first to pit, I believe. Now, this could gain him a few positions here. Maybe not the race winner or a podium, but a few positions nonetheless.
I've seen Alfie commenting in chat earlier, so he definitely is listening, so he would know about the mandatory stop. I'm just hoping everyone else does.
Well, I am aware that TMLS has set up a group chat on the PlayStation Network with most of the drivers who are racing tonight in, so hopefully he's relayed the message. But it's still Phil out front by half a second to Sutty. Gary lights on.
Lights on if you've no fans. Gary's aware.
Yeah. The lights are on and nobody's in.
Got two drivers in the pit lane by the looks of it. TMLS,
yeah, that's TMLS in as well. I think the car, so damage is off, but I think when you do pit, the car sometimes can come out, the graphics make it look like it's been repaired. We found last night when a bit of testing, cars were coming out that was damaged and looked fine. So expect to see that bonnet pop back on. But there's Alfie in 10th, Swimfin's in 11th. Nice to see Swimfin's not running at the back of the grid for this one. He's off though. And this is the problem when you're off. If you're just going to put the power down and try and get the car back on, it's not going to happen. You've really got to ease the car back onto the track.
And I can tell you that does feel like an absolute age when you go off and you can't put your foot down as well. So he'll be pretty frustrated out in the trees there.
Definitely. There's Deeks in 4th place. What will be P2 as we know. Rocket in 5th. That Swimfins that looks like he's rejoined there. TMLS out the pits and has passed him. And that's who's that round?
I think that's...
Is that TMLS round, I do believe? Yeah, it was
indeed,
rejoining.
Yeah. None of the front runners into the pits on that lap either, so they're going deep into this race.
Yeah, and that's an interesting strategy. We're about halfway through this race. As we see, Kieran's into the pits now from 9th position. So cars around him. Dean, where do you sort of pit? With Kieran pitting before you, how long do you go? Lil Trev in 7th. Not far behind Louis Matt. That looks a good battle at the minute between Rockets and Louis Matt, within a couple of seconds of each other. Lil Trev just a bit further, 3 seconds behind. It's TMLS in between what looks to be Rockets and Louis Matt. Onto the grass as that stays to the right hand side to keep out of Louis Matt's way. That's what we want to see from these back markers tonight. Good job there from TMLS, but Phil's out front by 1.2 seconds. There's Gary and Sutty. Gary's going down the inside of Sutty. Expect drama here. No, Gary's through cleanly again. Deeks in what is P2 effectively. Rockets P3. Louis Matt in 4th. Lil Trev into the pits now then. So the third of the guys to pit. Alfie has passed Kieran. So Alfie's done it. Did Alfie do his pit stop?
He did,
yeah, he was one of the first guys in. Yeah, it might be interesting to see how he gets on, because he was the first one that kind of took the gamble and see whether he can run in clean air. He's already passed one car, see what else he can do. Yeah,
he's already gained on Kieran. Kieran, as we know, is pitted. TMLS obviously is pitted as well. Lil Trev, the next guy to pit. So let's see.
Lil Trev should be out safely before Alfie gets around. He's already leaving the pit lane.
Yeah, he's leaving the pits now. Dean, he's only lost one place to Dean, so that's not too bad there. Dean will be kicking himself, I imagine, after his fantastic start to spin on the first corner of his own doing.
The top 7 still to pit so far.
A strong showing so far tonight. There's Phil, though. He's got a 9-second gap to what is Deeks in second now, so something's happened to Sutty and Gary. I can only assume the worst. Those Rockets. Phil driving well tonight though on his debut.
Definitely, and he's the quickest man out there. at the moment on track. Interesting, Gary and Sutty can't keep with him by the looks of it, so sheer pace from Phil.
He has been really, really good tonight. I mean, the only thing that's really letting down is his starts, but when you drive all of the cars more, you kind of learn where the sweet spot is to launch them anyway. So I think he'll be a real challenger in the season ahead.
I don't think Sutty quite knew where the pit entrance was there, as he seemed to cut across the grass, and Gary's doing what Gary does best and spinning round at the chicane. That's allowed Louis Matt into third. Rockets in the pits though, that's why Louis Matt's probably third now. Rockets was in front and he's into the pit, so a few of the top 7 are to pit. Dean's still not. Will he pit this time round? He's got Little Trev 6 seconds behind, so he'll lose that position to Little Trev, but potentially could keep the position to Kieran and come out in P8, could Dean Wysocki. There's Alfie, he's lost out to Kieran somewhere on track, so not working out for him so far.
I think Swimfin's still to pit as well. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen Swimfin's pit yet, but Dean Wysocki stayed out and he's up into P5 as Rockets leaves the pits now.
So he stays ahead of Little Trev. A long stop from Sutty there, down to 8th.
So the only one of the back runners to pit is Swimfin's. Also to pit is Phil, Dean, Deeks, Dean, Louis, Matt and Gary. There is Phil, who's that he's battling with. I think that's Kieran Argent.
Seen a bit of dust kicking up there, potentially a little off from Phil.
Not putting this time round neither. Deeks, does Deeks pit this time round? No. Thinks better of it. Louis Matt's going to dive into the pits though, as does Gary. Dean Wysocki easing the throttle around. You could just hear it pushing it, just hear him pushing the throttle down to get it round the corner. Rockets 3 seconds back. I'm sure he knows he'll lose out to Rockets. What would your strategy then, if the bottom half of the field tire is pitted and you're the top end? Would it be to just run as late as possible?
Judging by the gap he's got at the moment, I'll probably run it as much as you can. Then you've got to bear in mind, if you are catching up to traffic, it might be an idea to jump in and get a little bit of clear air again.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen there Dean went quicker on his lap and will pass Louis Matt coming out the pits. He's passed Gary. I'd just like to praise Dean Wysocki because he out-qualified Gary at Knock Hill last night in the GT4s. Gary has struggled.
Yeah. Gary with a very long stop, so obviously potentially didn't get to tweak his strategy before jumping in, so that's cost him a lot of places.
What on earth are they doing to that car? I think they're servicing it as well while it's in.
Yeah, quick MOT with the looks of that. Swimfin's still not to pit, neither's Phil, Deeks and Dean Wysocki, but Dean Wysocki up into P3 now. Obviously that will all change after the pit stops. Was running in P8 before the pit stop started. Phil into the pits now, so the leader had a 12-second gap to Deeks. Deeks obviously still to pit though.
This is going to be crucial now between Phil and Deeks, depending on what way they have their strategy set up. 10 seconds was the gap when Phil came into the pits. I think these two are safe for first and second based on the gaps behind, but does Deeks react to that?
Yeah, I agree with you there, and he has reacted, but it looks like he made a mistake then on the way into the pits.
Yeah, every second counts with these pit stops, because you never know what's going to happen on track. A back marker could spin or anything, so definitely you need to make sure to be careful on entry. A very unusual pit entry here at this classic circuit, but I think that all the guys are used to it so far.
Yeah, they've had a few races to get used to it. Dean Wysocki and Swimfin's are the only two to not pit. Looks like we've lost TMLS. His name's gone off the leaderboard. Dean Wysocki is into the pits. He knows he's going to lose out on a few places here, but is this going to give Rockets the lead? Because Phil and Deeks hasn't got out the pit lane yet, so Rockets will inherit the race lead here. Now Deeks is out. Phil's still in then, so Phil's had a bad pit stop. Rockets does inherit the race lead from Deeks. So a long pit stop from them two. Looked like they had a gap. Ben, you said potentially not, should be in and out quite easy. Obviously that wasn't the case.
When Phil pitted there, it was 39-second gap to Dean Wysocki in third. So Rockets played a blinder here with his strategy and has stayed out of trouble. Pitted early, stayed out of trouble, and now that's got him up to first. I do think potentially Phil Just didn't have time to change his strategy. Maybe just getting used to the game. Maybe.
Yeah,
And
potentially.
that's what's cost him the lead here. But Rocket's got Deeks all over the back of him now, so it will be interesting.
Yeah, definitely, Ben. He's got a bit of a gap though to make up, 2.5 seconds, and like I say, Deeks on the back of Rockets here. We've seen Rocket struggle at the final chicane.
This is the final lap as well, so will there be any move from Deeks into the last two corners?
Wide in the background, and Sutty will gain 4th. Obviously, the position will go back to Louis Mack by the end of the race. But Rockets, as we come down a small part of straight, you've got a quick left-hand bend, should be flat out, and then a long stretch of straight into the final chicane, where Rockets has struggled tonight, and Deeks in the last race had Dean Wysocki all over the back of him. See, Kieran's got a penalty, the only driver to have a penalty so far tonight. Does Deeks make a move? Oh no, he's lost it himself. Does that give Phil an opportunity? Can he keep it straight? No, he can't. There's Phil in the background. Where's Deeks going to rejoin? I think Phil's going to do it. Yes, he will. So second place for Phil. Sutty comes across 3rd, but the position will go back to Deeks. So Deeks will get 3rd, Louis Mack 4th. Lil Trev's going to come home in 6th. In 5th, I apologise. Gary will be 7th, but obviously the position will go to Dean Wysocki. Dean's actually going to gain 6th here because of Sutty and Gary finishing in front of him. Kieran, a quiet race from him again. I think the only, if I'm right in saying, the only Group A racer on the grid tonight.
We've got Rocket as well.
Yep, that's right. Sorry. Yep.
Rocket and
KJ Argent from Group A.
Yeah, that's it. Just the 2. Yeah.
So just the 2 from Group A.
I'm sure Kieran, depending on the classes haven't been revealed yet. I'm sure he wouldn't bother him whether he was in the A or B class next season. He'd definitely be up there in the B class and would be fighting for podiums every week.
Sutty in the chat saying, "Well done, Phil. Where's Gary?" Couldn't tell you, mate. He was that far back. I couldn't see him on this.
Just seen in the chat there as well, Alfie with a bit of technical issues with his rig. He's flat out on the straight and his car just starts to slow down. So potentially some issues there for him.
Unfortunately.
And Dean was doing a Tyler. He's doing a me. He needs a toilet break.
Yeah.
That'll be alright. Anyway, we'll get Rocket in for an interview maybe after that win.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
See how he got on once this race. I think everyone's finished, have they?
I think I don't know. We'll wait on. Race is finished now, though, so we'll go back to the result. So it's Rockets who takes a win, inherited it on the last lap through Phil and Deeks' long pit stops. Phil will get 2nd, ignore Sutty in 3rd, that goes to Deeks. Louis Mack will take 4th, Little Trev 5th. Again, ignore Gary like everybody else does. Dean Wysocki will take 6th. Kieran 7th, Swimfins will get 8th. Alfie 9th, TMLS will get 10th. Good race all around there. Just the odd penalty. What we've liked to see tonight is there's been not a lot of penalties like we've seen in some of the races in the season.
Just seeing there, Sutty saying who got fastest lap.
Don't ask me, Sutty.
It's also interesting to note Gary and Sutty with the A licence compared to a lot of the other drivers. Don't be fooled by this. These guys just race with each other every evening and just let each other win to enhance their licence. So
I was about to say, Ben, how on earth has Gary got an A licence after being glued to the back of my car all season?
Yeah, no surprises there. Those guys know all the tricks in the book, so don't be fooled.
That depends. Do you run the season with the competitive licence on, Tyler?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
Then I don't know how Gary's on an A licence.
Have not got a clue.
Should be on EU.
It might be worth putting the...
Yeah, that's fine. I can change that while we get Rockets in for a quick interview.
Here you go, Gary. Look, unbelievable abuse I'm getting here. Well, I hate to tell you this, but it is deserved.
Gary, mate, you bring it on yourself. The saying for Group B used to be you've been wacky-sacked, but I think it's you've been garried. Sutty's trying to change it too, so...
We've got Rocket in the chat now. Good evening, Wayne. Congratulations on that victory. Do you mind talking us through that race?
Just before we get going, can everybody in the chat hear Rockets before we get the interview underway, just to make sure we're...
Oh, yeah. We're having a few setting issues. In the party settings, Rocket, have you got always allow on your voice?
If you go to your dashboard and go into party, into the party settings, it should be there. Yeah, if you change that to always allow.
I think I've done that.
Yeah, can everybody hear Rockets in chat?
I'm sure
that's me.
Perfect, I think they can, so we'll get the interview underway.
Yep.
Wayne, congratulations on your victory there. A lot of it down to pitch strategy by the looks of it.
I don't know how I did that. I've got no idea how to use the pits, clearly from the Clio earlier. I think I just lucked out with the other boys taking a bit longer in the pits, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of it down to just getting time to set up the pitch strategy potentially, but nevertheless, quiet race, just kept your head down, and it's given you the race victory.
Yeah, just trying to keep the lines tidy and that.
How are you finding the Silverstone circuit? Very fast, some good racing.
Yeah, it's awkward because I've never driven it before at all on this game, like ever. So it's and some of the turning points are a little bit sort of awkward and unsighted, but it's the same for everybody, isn't it? Let's all just go have some fun.
Yeah, obviously one of 2 Group A guys to be racing tonight. Does that give you an edge, or?
Definitely not. I don't know why I was putting Group A at the beginning. I'm definitely not a gamer.
What are you thinking to the changeable conditions in the pit stop? So, a fan or?
Yeah. As long as I can put the right tyres on, unlike in the Clio one earlier. I had no idea what tyres I was on at all, but yeah, I'm all up for a bit of rain and what have you.
Good. Tyler, anything you want to add?
How do you feel driving that Ginetta, especially around this fast track? We don't really tend to see the Ginetta around a particularly quick track like this. What's it like handling-wise? Because we know that on the other tracks it can be a little bit of a pain in the arse.
I don't know if it's just me, but just seems to be of all games really, a rear-wheel drive car. As soon as it starts to go sideways, I can never sort of catch it with the steering wheel. But you've got to be so tentative on the throttle before you really nail it out the corners. But yeah, I think the quick boys, like the top of the boys of this game and AMH and people like that, they just have a different sort of feel, and they can just drive these cars so much quicker than what I can. Going
into the final 2 events, the Porsches and then the touring cars, what would you like to get out of the end of tonight's evening? A couple more wins?
Just some good solid racing. I think I had some good battles in a couple of them races and kept it as clean as we could. Yeah, I just enjoy battling with anybody really, as long as it's clean and no one makes a stupid move. It's all good fun at the end of the night.
Yeah, that's it. Well, best of luck for the rest of the evening, and wish you best of luck in
guys.
the next season.
Good luck,
Thank you. Good luck to everybody. Cheers.
Good luck.
Cheers.
So as we can see there, Louis Matt's disconnected. He doesn't normally compete in the Porsche, so hopefully he'll be back for the touring car race. Qualifying's been extended to 10 minutes, and I think we'll get the rain back into this one. I'm sure everybody's back, so away we'll go for the Porsches tonight. The BTCC touring car chat, is it?
Yep, that's it.
Yep, the touring car chat. Porsche Carrera Cup.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Matt. Just see, Wayne, you're still in the chat there. Maybe if you could leave the party, just to...
oh, right, okay.
We'll have your interference from your mic and your wheel in the background, yeah.
We don't want all that swearing.
No idea. Right, hold on. How do I leave the party? Sorry.
If you go into the party bit again...
So I'm just undo my mic. Hold on.
If
you... it says leave party.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yep. Best of luck,
cheers,
mate.
guys.
Perfect, cheers. Bye.
Well, I think
certainly more of a racer than a gamer, I think it's fair to say.
Definitely. I think we ought to get Dean Wisocki back in here by the end of the night just to go through his first race, as people couldn't hear him on his first interview.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good shout.
We'll get that in at the end of the night after we've done the touring car race. But here we go for the GT3 Porsches. Ben, obviously, Tyler won the title by just a point. You couldn't quite get the fastest lap. How did you feel at the end of that night?
Well, going into the event, I knew it would have to take something kind of unusual to happen for me to take the title. You know, myself and Tyler have been up the front the whole season, so I just got out there for qualifying. Put my head down. Managed to get a clean lap. I've been finding it very difficult in qualifying to get a clean lap all season. So lucky enough, got one. Put myself on pole. That gave me the extra point then, so it was just 6 points going into that race. Lucky enough, got a decent start. Tyler had a flyer off the line, and I actually thought he was going to throw one up the inside into the first turn, but then had a little coming together with Gary by the looks of it in my rearview mirror, and then I started to do the maths in my head and realised that the championship could actually be mine. I actually had calculated it wrong and thought that Tyler only needed 5th place to win, so I seen he was in 7th, or up to 6th anyway, and Holty was in 5th. And then I seen Holty disconnect, and my head just went to the air. And that was the title, hope's gone. But at the same time, just kept my head down, wanted to finish on a high with a race win. So lucky enough got that, and turned on the stream then to hear that potentially I still won the championship, so got my hopes up a bit there.
Apologies for that.
No worries at all. And look, to finish 1 point off Tyler for the season, it just shows how close we've been racing all year, and look forward to more of it next season. Again,
Tyler, same to you. How did you feel when it was properly calculated and you'd won the title?
Oh, it was excellent. You certainly kept us in suspense, didn't you? But I mean, like Ben was saying, I did get garried on the first lap, which put me down to about 8th or 10th, so I had to drive through there. But all credit to him. On the last or second to last lap, he did slow down and let me through, so all's well to end. So I still had to do a bit of hard driving to pick my way back up through the field. But feel sorry for Ben, really, because like we said, he's been caught up in a few incidents, not of his own doing, and done everything that he needed to. So, over the whole Brands meeting, in fairness, absolutely dominated. So it was great to win, but it's a little bit of a shame that Ben didn't get to grab a championship either, because he deserved it the way he drove.
And that's the thing with both of you, obviously being in the Group B for last season. So many of you, between NJ and Gary, Tyler yourself, Ben yourself, and Little Leach, such a tight racing throughout and tight championships throughout. When you look at them all, you know, Neil dominated at one point, then Gary had a good Snetterton, Ben, you had a good Brands Hatch, Tyler, you had a few races early on where you was dominant at tracks, Little Leach the same. In such a close championship like that, it must be more fun to know you've really got to go out and give your all.
It was absolutely great. Like I say, I think there was about 6 or 7 drivers which won races consistently, which is great. Like you said, I had a brilliant start of the season, and then I think Neil absolutely dominated. I think it was Alton Park actually. And everyone had a little stint throughout the season where they absolutely dominated. And as a driver, I was leading the championship at the time. You're always looking over your shoulder, thinking, "My goodness, if I don't finish there or thereabouts, and someone has a good meeting, I could be down to 6th from 1st." Yeah,
that's it. I remember the first stream I went on with JPH at Alton Park where Neil dominated. The first one I did on my own, Gary at Snetterton won 4 of 5 races there. And you just kind of thought, if you can carry that momentum into the next 2 meetings after that, Gary's got the titles won. But then obviously Ben came up at Brands Hatch, and Silverstone was a bit of evens between the lot of you.
It was really good. I think Go on, Ben, sorry.
I'm entirely right, go ahead.
Oh, sure. So I think the Porsche race, I think I actually won that championship without winning a race, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, because I was doing the maths, and if Ben did get fastest lap, he'd have won it because he won 2 races previous.
I didn't win a single race. How boring is that? I don't deserve to win that, surely.
That's just the consistency. That's the way. We all know as touring car fans, that's the way the touring cars goes. Turkington the other year won the touring car title on 1 race win for the season.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of consistency you need. Even in such a short championship like this, the consistency is key. And Ben,
something I'll definitely be trying to work on for next season. Is consistency. Don't think it'll be as much of an issue maybe next season in Group A. It's a lot be more cleaner racing. It won't be coming up to as many back markers potentially next season, so it should be. But at the same time, it'll also be more difficult, because I think if you get taken out at turn 1, you're not going to climb up through the field as easy as some of us drivers did in Group B last season. You know, it's going to be if you drop down to 10th, you might only make up a position or 2.
Yeah, and that was my next question to you guys. With you top 6 being so close in Group B, coming into with the likes of myself and Iceman and AMH and maybe a few others out to Group A, the racing should be even closer. Like Ben says there, if you make a mistake or get taken out, Gary, that was a hint to you. That could be your race over.
Definitely. Perhaps he'll have to rethink his driving style next season.
I think it'll have to. Drivers will be more wary of that, definitely, in first lap when it's quite bunched up. But yeah, no, it definitely will be exciting, and it should be great for the guys to commentate on.
Yeah.
And it'll be as exciting for the Class B guys next season with myself and you commentating, Matt. With a few of the Class A guys dropping down to Class B, it's just going to be an exciting championship for both classes, definitely.
Don't forget the new boys coming into the championship as well that may be placed into Group B, like as we can see here, Phil, who currently is on pole position by 1.5 seconds. We have 3.5 minutes left of qualifying. Shout out again to Dean Wysocki into P2. He's been up there tonight with his qualifying. Is this a guy to watch for next season in Group B, Tyler?
It could well be. I mean, there's a lot of people to watch in Group B, because I think it's fair to say from the very first ever meeting we had at Brands Indy to the end at GP, everyone has come on such a long way. And with like the top 3, 4 or 5 going up to Group A, it'll be a lot tighter racing. So I think I'll be a little bit silly to put money on anyone, because it could be literally anyone. Season 2 will be the best yet by far. Yeah,
100%. And I think you saw the difference in the two classes between myself and Ben Streams. You sort of have your carnage and your mayhem on the Group B on a Wednesday night, then you had sort of quiet, tight battles in Group A on when you streamed, Ben. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yeah, definitely. And just on a note to what Tyler mentioned, I think Monkey Boy from Class B deserves a shout out. Definitely, second half of the season really turned it on, really improved. Grabbed the pole position at the international circuit here at Silverstone in the Porsches.
Yeah, he did right at the last second, I remember, if I was right.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of improvement from the whole field throughout the season, and should definitely they should definitely keep improving next season, and it's going to be a really exciting season, definitely.
And this is something I think we've all been excited to see, the stages where you've had your lower runners improve throughout the season, and as the season's gone on, the racecraft's got better, their lap times have got better in qualifying. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Surely, obviously, these guys improve into that. When the quicker guys go up to Group A, they can show what they've learnt over the first season.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, a little birdie has told me of a few changes to next season, so that should make the racing even more exciting. So we'll have to wait for the announcements of them. So definitely all stay tuned to the social media.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned to the Facebook page. Announcements coming soon. Tyler obviously announced one a little earlier over I think it was Long Beach. It was announced, Tyler, if I'm right in saying?
That's right, yeah, it's our little version of the annual Macau trip that the WTCR guys do. Do you reckon we can do a little kind of sneak peek next year now? Should we release something else?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead if you want.
Oh, what one should we pick? We've got so many. So what we will be doing next season is shortening a couple of support races by 5 minutes, because we'll be making way for a Formula Rookie championship as well, which we should have lined up sponsorship and whatnot. And that kind of, the only thing we are missing from the like touring car calendar, if you like, is Formula 4. Now the Formula C is an absolute nightmare to drive, and we've been testing both, and we found that the Formula Rookie was a lot easier to handle and also a lot closer racing. So we've got something else to spice up the season next year.
So an extra race then for the calendar next year, as Tyler just announced, the Formula Rookie, the THR version of the Formula 4. Dean Wysocki a 10th off of Phil there. Rocky to 10th off of Phil as well, but he's in the pit, so he's not going to get another time in. I'll just quickly run through the leaderboard. It's Phil from Dean, Rocket, Louis, Matt, Alfie. That's Deeks in 6th, Lil Trev 7th, KJ Argent 8th, TMLS is in 9th, he's in the pits as well, Swimfin's in 10th, Sutty 11th, he has set a time, but obviously being nice and slow in Gary. Yeah, Gary.
Just speechless, nothing to say about Gary.
Oh, that's Louis Matt on his roof, that's Alfie on his roof. 2 on the roof then as they're trying to complete the final laps. Qualifying has been complete. Dean Wysocki and Phil possibly still on laps here, if we can catch one of them. 4 cars with the looks of things.
Gary says all he hears is jealousy.
So no one's got any reply to that. No comment to that.
No. Dean Wysocki looks like he has a nice clean car. No scratches, no dents. Phil looked like he'll come in. Where is Phil? Is that Phil off at the chicane? If so, no, he's there behind Dean Wysocki. So Dean Wysocki's going to do his lap time first. So can he find the 10th he needs? A mistake at the chicane, and round he goes. So he's not going to find it there then. That'll be his qualifying session done. Here's Phil. Phil a mistake into the last corner as well, so no improvement from him. We've got else on track, Lil Trev. What can he do? He's 1.8 seconds off the lead. Again, another problem into the final chicane.
Watch an oil spill down there by the looks of it.
Swimfin's down. Gary, his presence was there.
Swimfin's for Paul, lads, I'm telling you.
18 seconds and Swimfin's is round at the chicane. Gary, come on. Everybody round at the chicane, but at least Swimfin's he's going to try and finish his lap.
And he's going to get ahead of Suddy and Gary for some extra kudos to Swimfin's.
Yeah. So qualifying over, we'll run through the list. A chance for Dean to take pole, but couldn't do it. So it's Phil from Dean, Wysocki, Rockets in 3rd, Louis Matt 4th, Alfie in 5th, Deeks in 6th, Lil Trev 7th, KJ Argent 8th, TMLS 9, Swimfin's 10th, Sutty 11th, and that is it. Oh, sorry, Gary brings up the rear.
was that on purpose, or was that a genuine mistake?
Yeah, a bit of both. The thing with Gary, if you can get Gary, that's it. When you've got Gary on your fishing line, that's it. He's not coming back from it.
I think I don't want to jinx it too early, but I think Phil has this one wrapped up, guys. I know they're only on the starting grid, but he seems to be on. Has it switched on for this car?
Yeah.
Big risky bold statement from me, and they haven't even left the line yet, but he seems to just have that car under control.
No, I see what you're saying there, Ben, again, and you go back to the Clio race, he looked fast, managed to pass KJ Argent, but Deeks and Dean Wysocki was gone. Last race, pit stop let him down. Phil's been quick tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I think maybe a few Louis Matt maybe from 4th.
Yeah, definitely watch out for him.
We don't need those two lads at the back there, just irrelevant. Let's see TMLS, hopefully he can get a better start this time round.
Yeah, watch Dean Wysocki off the line, because last time out he got a good start. Not so today, as that's Rocket who rockets into the lead from the line there then. No, that's Louis Matt, sorry. Rockets in 2nd. Apologies, there's an accident in the background. Somebody got forced wide. That looked like Kieran Argent. Gary and Sutty with an absolute blinding start at the back of the grid. That's a car round. Dean Wysocki, is that TMLS up there?
I've done it.
Phil's off.
Commentator curse.
Ben's let him down already. There's Gary, probably going to drive into the back of him. We won't see that. That's a touch there from Deeks and Dean Wysocki. They lean on each other, and Dean Wysocki's wide and round he goes. Unfortunate for him, he's been strong tonight, but Louis Matthew leads from Deeks. Lil Trev in 3rd and Rocket in 4th. There in the background is Alfie in 5th, Kieran's up to 6th, Swimfin's up to 7th, Dean's 8th, TMLS is 9th, Phil's in 10th, Gary and Sutty staying in the back. And that's Deeks up the inside, and Louis Matt looking to make a move, and does so. Good move there up the inside. Is that Rocket on Lil Trev? No. Lil Trev looking to make a move on Louis Matt as well. Around the outside, it'll be tough to do around here. Can he keep it there for the inside of the next left-hand bend? No, he can't, Louis Matt. 2nd comfortably. There's Alfie in the background then. So Deeks takes the lead on lap 1. Bit of a crazy start again. But Louis Matt should have the slipstream. Rockets will have a run on Lil Trev as he ran a bit wide and tucks into the slipstream there, looking at the chicane. Louis Matt pits early. Now, is that wise? How wise is this to pit early? As Deeks is round and Lil Trev takes the lead. How wise is it to pit early? Obviously the guys in the lobby didn't see the settings. Rain is back on for this. Ben, 2 in the pits already.
I forgot about that rain as well, Matt. Interesting. I'm sure. Oh no, I can't. I'm trying to make an excuse for Louis and Rocket here, but they can't switch to wet tyres already. They'll just heat them up and burn them up.
Yeah, surely not.
Have they aborted or stopped and gone straight out?
I think they have. If that looks like they've gone straight through the pit lane there, so that looks like they've aborted it. Obviously, probably watching the stream and realise what they've done, but that's potentially ruined the race. Who's that off? Swimfin's also in the pits here. Dean Wysocki qualified so well, but his race isn't going good here. Swimfin's as well through the pits as he clicked on as well, that he hasn't had to pit yet. It's Lil Trev out front, followed by Alfie. And Phil back up to 3rd after his first corner spin.
That could be a blessing for Phil in disguise now.
Yeah, you can see Gary and Sutty there in the background. Kieran up
Who?
into 5th. I don't know, to be honest. Sutty's in the background. I don't know who that yellow-black car is. Safety car's having a race, it looks of it. Gary's got his wipers on. I don't know why. He must think it's raining, but there's nothing on our screens at the moment. So 3 drive through the pit lane. Rockets has passed Dean with Socky, so Rockets gained a place on Dean there.
Just seeing the chat there, Mark Phelan, who's a big fan of of Gary there, is asking for Gary to be interviewed. I'm sure Gary might get a chance to be interviewed tomorrow, Mark. He's also looking for an interview with Swim Fins.
We can, I'm sure we can sort of, we can get Swim Fins to jump in if he's available. As the rain starts to fall now, maybe Gary's wipers was an indication that it was coming. Yeah, we'll definitely get Gary in for an interview tomorrow. As Deeks is up into 4th, there's Phil in 3rd. Gaining on Alfie, but Deeks also gaining on Phil. A learning curve for Phil in these cars tonight, Tyler. And maybe a better chance than others to learn these cars before the second season starts.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done a really good thing. In fairness, asked if we can squeeze him in for tonight, which of course we can, and learning the cars and track for next season. So on the whole, really good. What do you guys feel about this particular car? I find it a lot more balanced than the Ginetta, but I find a little bit of kind of understeer into the corner, and then maybe a little bit of oversteer on the out. So it is quite an interesting car to drive.
I feel on the faster sort of corners, the back end seemed to go a bit light. Sometimes
definitely, yeah. That was kind of my Achilles heel at Snetters in there through the first corner. I lost it twice at high speed.
Yeah.
And that kind of cost me the race. So definitely tricky at high speeds.
Just to interrupt you there, Ben. TMLS and Louis Matt, the first of the pitters. Oh, as Lil Trev spins on his entry into the pits. So does Phil. So did Deeks, I think, there.
Yeah, apologies, Matt. We missed that in the background there. So them two are just coming out. Got a few spinners in the background, I think.
Oh, Phil. Oh, dear. It's all carnage in the pit lane. And Gary somehow inherited first place from all of this. He's obviously risking it to stay out. Sutty stays out as well.
We've got Deeks, Lil Trev, Alfie and Phil all in on this lap. This could be for the win, depending on how quick the crews are.
The other thing to look at as well is TMLS and Louis Matt. They've already pitted and fitted their wet tyres. How quick are they going to get round? That's Dean Wasoki's entered the pit lane now as well. He's ahead of Kieran. Kieran not had the best of times a minute. He's coming into the pits. Where's Rockets? Is he coming into the pits?
Yeah, looks
I don't think he's got any choice now. Yep. So everybody pits. Swim Fins is round there. He's not pitted yet neither. TMLS up into P10.
Bit of Carrera ballet from Swim Fins here.
So Phil leaving the pits. Deeks has left the pits already with the looks of it, so Deeks has capitalised on all of that and inherits the race lead. Obviously Gary and Sutty not being counted tonight. So it's Deeks from Phil, Alfie, Lil Trev and Dean with Socky. Kieran and Rockets into the pits now.
TMLS and Louis didn't capitalise on that. Now we do know Louis went into the pits early.
Yeah, we know Louis Matt's been through the pits twice now, so has Rockets as well.
I expected TMLS to be a little bit close as he's had a spin there as well. I expected him to be up there a bit closer. But
he put in the chat earlier he was struggling with the G29 in terms of getting used to it. Obviously a new wheel for TMLS, was on pad last season. So maybe a bit of practice for him ready for the next season as well. Rockets, because he's dropped to 11th though as TMLS has passed him. And this guy pits from the lead. If he can turn it in.
Keep it straight, yeah. This guy's 2 championships to his name and he can't get into a pit lane correctly.
This just goes to show though, guys, that how bad the slicks are on the wet track, that when you're going slow into the pit entry, it's still causing... You're still struggling to get in there.
The Hulk Sutty into the pits as well.
Yeah, that Swim Fins behind as well. So where's Deeks on track? They're coming into the chicane now. Deeks through the chicane well and will take back the race lead outright.
Phil has been quick in the wet, so let's see if he can catch up to Deeks.
There's Alfie off in the background there. But no, yeah, you're right there, Ben. Phil has been quick in the wet. As you can see, lap times quite matched. Lil Trev's had a spin, unfortunate for him. Where's Dean Wasocky? There he is. So Dean Wasocky passes Lil Trev on the start straight. Can Kieran gain on Lil Trev? Obviously the rain's starting to catch people out, and this is the thing now with the wet weather coming in. Who's got the skill in the wet and who hasn't? Swimfin's still in the pits, he's just left. Gary and Sutty have left the pits as well. But it's Deeks out front. Is he going to look for his second win tonight? Obviously we've had Deeks win 1, Rockets has won 1. Who won the GT5s?
Rocket.
Rocket won the GT5, so Rockets has won 2 then.
I think it was Rocket because I went to invite him, but I had to send him a friend request, so he got Dean in instead.
That was right, yeah, that was right. So Rockets has won 2. Deeks has a penalty, as you can see there by his name. His number's in red. So a penalty for him. Phil 2 seconds behind. Will he look to gain? There's KJ Argent we're on board with in second. He's right behind Little Trev at the moment. Will he look to make a move? We saw him defend Phil off well earlier. Louis Mapp down in 9th. Went through the pits twice, but unfortunately couldn't do anything. Dean Wasoki's had a bit of a spin as he's back down into 8th position now, and Louis Mapp's right on the back of him and looks to get the job done here. Obviously Dean's struggling in the Porsche. Did well in qualifying, just can't seem to put it together in the race. I think this is another one that Louis Mapp doesn't participate in the season, did it?
Yeah, no, Louis jumped in for 1 or 2 races here and there when he was maybe back early for the touring car race. As we just see, Gary's got up to 3rd there. Alfie obviously potentially had a spin there. He was right behind Phil at one stage, so Gary up to 3rd.
Yeah, obviously Alfie will inherit the 3rd place back. Sorry, Ben.
He's gone a little bit wide there and has dropped back from Dean, so he's going to have to do all the hard work again now to try to catch up. We've got just over 5 minutes left.
Definitely, you saw Sutty at the bottom of the screen there. Dean Wasocki obviously will inherit the place from Sutty and Gary, so we'll actually gain 2 places to be P6. Louis Mapp will run in P7. On board with Kieran. Seems to have dropped back a bit there off of Alfie.
He's closing up to Alfie there.
Is
Alfie's gone from 3rd now, yeah. He had a spin by the looks of it. Gary's inherited 3rd now.
Oh, he's round again, Alfie is. And Kieran has to get the brakes on, a bit of a touch there. I don't think that was Kieran's fault. I think Alfie lost the car mid-corner. Little Trevor will gain another place. So unlucky for Alfie there. He's having a strong showing tonight, but not to be. There's Sutty. He loves it. Sutty loves to get involved. Loves a bit of testing. Little Trev up into P5, what will be P4. You can hear him on the throttle, just easing it round the corner. It obviously wouldn't grip. There's Deeks, and out front has an 8-second lead. So Phil obviously not got the confidence in the Porsche in the wet.
Yeah, he's lost 6 seconds on that lap there. And this is Gary will be getting close. And I don't. Maybe just getting used. As we said, this car is pretty tricky. I can't speak from experience on the wet now. I haven't driven it in the wet, but it can be a nightmare to drive at times. Dry, so.
Yeah, and I suppose for a new guy coming in, with throwing wet conditions at him, pit stops at him, and then he's obviously got the difficulty of driving these cars.
Definitely,
in a competitive race for the first time.
I think this sort of scenario with pit stops and changing weather conditions definitely brings an exciting side to the stream. However, potentially for the season 2, in my opinion, I'd leave it out and just leave it the way it was, because I think it just could get a little confusing for the guys. You know, it could, as we've seen with Louis Maps there, potentially. Oh, we have Little Trev in the background going off. Was it
I think that was swim fins actually.
Yeah, we've seen Louis Maps hit early, and when it was still dry, so that's cost him potentially the victory here, as he's back up to 6th. So yeah, it's good for these one-off races, but I think for a season overall, it's better just to leave it the way it was. As they say, don't fix something that isn't broken, because I mean, to say this directly to Tyler, who's in the party, for a first season of a league, it's been an incredibly successful one, both in numbers on track, numbers on watching the stream. I think we've got over 20 viewers on the stream at the moment, dedicated to watching it, so it's been a really successful first season for the league.
Yeah, definitely. From streaming, I know we started streaming halfway through the season, but what a start it's been. Swimfins into the pits, and like you say, Ben, don't change anything that isn't broken. And at the minute, the racing on a Wednesday and the Thursday night's been fantastic. It's all right chucking a pit stop in for these fun races. That's what makes it a bit more fun. As you can see, plenty of tyres on track there as Louis Mack goes into one. Who was that in front of him? Was that Dean Wasocki? No, that's Kieran. What's happened to Kieran? He seems to be...
I think it's more just Louis on a charge through the field, Matt. See Swinfin's eggs in there after his stop. Kieran just not being able to keep a little tread.
No, but what I can tell you, though, with the looks of the front, Deeks has dropped to third, even with his penalty, and Phil has got the lead here. So maybe a problem for Deeks. He was comfortable out in front, and he's dropped back to third place. Gary obviously gets second. That'll be wiped. Shame we can't wipe all of his results, but oh well. Phil has the lead. Deeks in second then. Phil had the lead last time. He's obviously pitted this time round, so he obviously won't lose it through a pit stop this time. So I wonder what happened to Deeks there, Ben, but...
Yeah, and just on a note back to the last comment, Tyler, maybe we could get your words on the first season of the league that you've set up. How do you think it's gone, and has it fulfilled your expectations?
Look, the first season's been incredible. When this lockdown started, I was literally sat on my sofa probably the third or fourth day, and I thought, I need something to do. I love racing. There's no touring cars going to be on for however long this is going to go on for. Let's set something up, see how we can get on. We've got 32 car grids. We get streamed by some brilliant commentators, if I may say so. We've got brilliant drivers. Everyone has banter on and off the track. We've got brilliant sponsors. What more can you ask for from the first season? Going back to what you said, we're not going to change too much. We're expanding the championship a little bit, couple of extra rounds, new car kind of thing. But the actual core of the championship, I think, has been absolutely brilliant. So we're not going to change too much because, well, there's no need to, is there?
No, I totally agree with what you say there. And just going back to it as well, we've had great support on the streams that me and Ben have done throughout the Wednesday and the Thursday. The support on there has been fantastic as well, just to add to that, as well as the drivers and the sponsors and everything else. The support on the streams, I know Ben will agree with me, has been fantastic on a Wednesday and Thursday.
100%. Hats off to them guys. It makes our life a lot easier. You know, we can only talk for so long without having to interact with you, guys. You know, so your comments really do help us, and we really look forward to seeing a lot of you again next season. The calendar should be released soon enough, once a few details are confirmed. So we should be back racing very soon for some competitive action, so definitely do keep an eye on all the social pages, and we really look forward to seeing you all again next season. It's been a pleasure commentating for you guys and interacting.
Oh, as Phil goes round, sorry to interrupt you there, Ben. Phil went round on the chicane as Gary made a move on him. I don't think Gary did touch him that time round, but nonetheless, as it's coming to the back end of the race, he will cross the line for the win. Gary's result will not count, so Phil takes the win from Deeks. That was close towards the end there, Ben.
Yeah, got a bit sentimental and emotional there, thinking about all of our fans that we forgot about the race finish. But just on a quick note, thanks to everyone that's been getting involved in the comments. It's been really appreciated, and we look forward to more next season, definitely. But congratulations, Phil, on your debut victory in the league. May not be a competitive race, but he will remember this debut victory for a long time, I'm sure.
Yeah, nonetheless, like you say, thanks to the viewers on the Wednesday and Thursday nights. Stay tuned for more action from the THR Touring Car League, and like you say, hats off to Phil there on his debut win. It's still going to be competitive tonight. These guys will still want to win what will be the first race win effectively in the THR League. Deeks gets second, Louis Matt third, Lil Trev fourth, Sutty fifth, Dean Wasocki sixth, Rockets seventh as he span there at the end. Kieran's off. Where's TMLS? Is he going to be able to capitalise? I don't think so. I don't even think Kieran's going to finish. He isn't. So a quick run down. No one's bothered about the guy at number one, so Phil takes the race win. Deeks gets second, Louis Matt third, Lil Trev fourth, Sutty again. Good drive from Sutty, but he won't count, so Dean Wasocki will get fifth, Rocket sixth, Kieran seventh, TMLS eighth, Alfie ninth, Swimfin's 10th, and then Sutty 11th, Gary 12th. So while we wait for Ben to sort out a party, well done to Phil in the chat.
Phil, if you're listening, can you accept my friend request so I can invite you, please?
Well, if it hadn't started raining, I'd have been on the podium. The weather was too much for the GT3, says Alfie. Gary, no thanks, Sutty, not my night, maybe tomorrow when I clear up.
Ooh, fighting talk there.
I was just about to say, Tyler, is that a bit of overconfidence from Gary?
Well, I mean, he'll find out tomorrow when he's looking at the back of my car, won't he?
I must say that AMH will be on for the Porsches tomorrow, so that is fighting talk from Gary. tomorrow night, is it all guns blazing, elbows out?
Oh, when is it not? Final hairpin's going to cause a bit of aggro. You also got to bear in mind when it rains, there is quite a large lake on the inside of that corner as well. So I think we could be seeing a little bit of action there.
Yeah, definitely. As we wait for Ben.
Just sent the invitation
for Phil. Sorry.
Should be coming in now.
Kieran says McGann. No, the McGann is still banned. Evening, Phil.
Phil, congratulations on your debut victory. Pole position and a race win. You must be delighted with that. So do we just have his mic?
Yep, can't hear Phil. Yep.
Yeah, no worries. Just before we start the interview as well, Phil, can you just check in the party settings? Have you got your voice to be allowed always?
If you go back to the main screen of the PlayStation with the PS button, go up to where it says party. If you go on to party settings, and then it says always allow your voice to be shared. Just make sure that says always allow. Yeah, brilliant. Ben?
We'll start that interview again. Phil, congratulations on your debut victory in the THR Racing League. A pole position and race victory. You must be thrilled with that on the opening night for you.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having us, by the way. Great job on the commentary as usual. Yeah, it was tough there in the rain. Last couple of laps were a bit hairy. But yeah, we got there in the end.
Yeah, you've been quick all night, Phil. And obviously to get your first win, I know it's obviously a bit of fun at the moment, but that must give you confidence going into the second season.
Oh, definitely, man. It's always good to get on the top of the podium.
I've just seen in chat there, Phil, Gary is asking, Can you ask Phil what he's wearing, please?
I'll send him a picture later on.
Hey. I'll be included in that, please.
What's your thoughts then on the rain and the pit stops, Phil?
Yeah, it shakes things up a bit. It's good. I don't know whether it's good having it like every race. It was nice to have the break in the Ginettas having the dry race, but yeah, it definitely shakes things up a bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, Phil. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, go on, Ben. Go on.
Obviously, Phil, you've got the pace. We would expect you to be in Class A next season potentially. How do you feel? Obviously, we've seen you watching the streams. How do you feel coming up against the likes of your friends Suddy and Gary and AMH, for example? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it'd be grand. Yeah, I can be there to make up the numbers if you like.
That's what Gary's for.
I'm happy racing wherever you want me to race.
Tyler, anything to add?
I just want to say, obviously, welcome on board. We've not had you race with us before. It's great to get as many people involved as we can. We're looking like another full grid again. So, how do you, if you don't mind me asking, of course, how do you come across the league? Because, of course, we started off as 15, 16 people max. It's interesting to see kind of how we expand ourselves.
It was word of mouth. I work with Sutty, and he told me about the group, so I started watching for a few weeks. Watched most of the last season. And then he was saying I should get involved, so here I am.
Well, it's a good call because you're doing absolute bits tonight, mate.
Brilliant.
Thanks, man.
Gary says, ask him what it was like seeing the B-League champ coming around the outside of the last chicane. You don't have to answer that question because we're ignoring what Gary says tonight. So, if I remember rightly, Tyler is the Porsche champ.
Yeah.
There's a reason I didn't want to say anything. Gary has no fans.
What's your predictions in the touring car race to end the night, Phil? Another win?
Probably Gary punting me off now after I said that.
Well, best luck for the evening, mate, and hope you do well in the next season.
Nice one. Thanks a lot, lads.
Thank you. Cheers.
As we can see there, Gary the Almighty has left the session. So
just sorry, Matt, just a quick one. Do you want to put the time up for this one by 10 minutes so we have quite a long one on the last race?
Yep, I'm happy to do that.
Give us a little bit more time to chat and watch a bit of racing unfold.
We're happy to just keep the weather as sunny I know Phil said there that we'd love to,
Yeah,
love to
we'll
see a
do
nice
that.
dry race, and we'll have a good clean race. Obviously, the Megane is banned based on how much it is over. It's just too powerful compared to the other cars. So you've got the BMW, the Mercedes, and the Astra. And then what we'll do is we'll wait for everybody to press the thumbs up ready, and then we'll get underway. So I know everybody's picked the car and are ready to go.
So what car would you guys pick in this particular track? Me personally, I don't like driving it, but I'll probably pick the BM just for its top end. It is a very fast circuit.
Yeah, I think the BM's got to be the one. There's not many slow corners, so you're not really going to be affected.
It was BM. I hated it at the start of the season, but I got to grips with it towards the end, and it's definitely go-to. The kind of query around it is it going to turn into the Megane of the THR League, and we're going to see, I think it was in the Snession race, top 8 of Class A were all running the BM, so it was just a BM championship almost, so it'll be interesting. But a lot of guys do like the front wheel drive, and they like the Merc.
So I prefer the front wheel drive.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have an issue with that, hopefully. But it's nice to have a mixture of cars on the grid, to give it that real touring car feel.
What I found was interesting, Tyler, was you actually changed to the BMW for Silverstone. Was that to match? Was that to be in the same car as Gary, or?
That you've nailed it absolutely on the head. He come into a bit of a purple patch towards the end of the season, and I thought I can't kind of let this go. Whatever he picks, I'm going with it as well. I think I got Garried on that particular race as well. Actually, if I remember,
I was about to say, if I remember rightly, it all went off a bit earlier. Where I think Ben was involved, and then you pushed Gary onto the grass, and the lap later Gary spun you around.
No, I would never do that. Not me, surely.
Gary then obviously spun you around.
Can we rewind 2 laps there? To where
you was up with the front runners as well.
Yeah, I quietly remember Tyler being in first and I was second going into the first corner, and someone just kind of brake checked me, and then I got rear-ended. That ended my challenge that race. So
who rear-ended you in that one? Was that Gary who rear-ended you there?
No, I think it was Neil NJ. I think, but I don't blame him. He had nothing.
I'd have blamed him.
I don't know about you, Matt, but through Abbey, I don't brake. But the guy in first braked that time, and I had to back out of it myself.
I did see the run you had through turn 1 was incredible. To them, have to slam the brakes on all of a sudden to get punted from the back. I did see that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't put the blame on Neil that time anyway.
There is Gary. He won the Group B touring car, and AMH won the Group A touring car. He should be with us tomorrow night for the final 2 rounds, as he has been all season. Tyler, like you say, you changed to the BMW for the Silverstone race to keep up with Gary. Would that be a preference all season, or would you be happy to stay in the Mercedes? Was that just purely the decision for the championship?
Yep, just for the situation I was in. I'm front wheel drive all day long, to be honest with you. Even now I can get an extra tenth or two on the BMW on the Merc. So
yeah, I think I remember we had a conversation that day, didn't we? You said you was actually 3/10 quicker in the Merc, I think you said.
Yeah, I was, and then I saw what Gary went for, and I melted and copied him.
Yeah. Ben, would that be your strategy as well, or would you just stay BMW throughout the season?
It depends really on I'm kind of quite to be honest, in the branch race I was quite happily surprised to find I actually had the fastest lap in the race in the BM, which I didn't think I would have at all, considering Gary was racing as well. We know he's been very quick in that BM all season, so at the moment, we'll potentially be looking at the BMW. A few other options in the bag. Again, don't want to reveal too much of my secrets to either and yourself, Matt, as well. At the moment, so I'm just keeping my cards close to my chest for a minute.
Fair enough. Andrew Tyler in the chat, Monkey Boy aka, have the new leagues been sorted out yet? If so, how many have been promoted from Group B? Tyler's here. Tyler, answer that question.
We're almost there. I've got a couple of things to look into, namely the speed of the newcomers, but we're pretty much there. We've added it all up and we've put it into one table so you can see who's scored what. It's just kind of fine-tuning it and finding where the cut-off line is, really.
Hopefully that answers your question. Everybody you're on board with there, Ben, seems to have spam or had damage.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt Tyler there, but we had... I think we had
Swimfin, Sutty, Alfie.
Swimfin was off. Sutty's doing donuts there. The 2 boys with a bit of display for us.
Yeah.
That's kind.
That's lovely from Sutty doing it backwards. Look, Gary
as well.
sort yourself out. Stop mucking around, you child.
I think it had Alfie with a bit of damage there. I think you've seen him go off first lap there at the end of the hangar straight, and straight into the arm cowl. So yeah, lucky enough, it's just visual damage, so that won't affect him too much. What I do know from experience, as Alfie goes around as well, maybe gets a bit distracted by Sutty and Gary's display there. But what I do know from experience is when you do get a little bit of front end damage like Alfie has there, it can impair your vision a little bit.
Yeah.
With the bonnet up above the steering wheel, which is the excuse I'm using for losing my podium at Brands Hatch.
Definitely. As lap times start to come in now, then we see Louis Matt on pole at the minute with a 1:35.1. Is that Dean Wasocki? Now it's Deeks with a 1:36.6. That's been the struggle all season in Group B, the DEA of Deeks and the DEA of Dean Wasocki. I know Deeks messaged me to say try to change it, but it hasn't changed, unfortunately.
There's an issue with Project Cars because obviously my PSN name, BenField97, it comes up the first three letters as BEN, and when I inputted my driver profile I had it as PHE for my surname Phelan, which never changed, so I think it's a little bug with the game, you actually can't really change it.
Yeah, unfortunately there. Rockets is in 4th at the moment, 4 seconds behind us. Dean Wasocki, he's qualified well all night. Rockets there in 4th, he's raced well all night as well as qualified. Alfie gets it into 5th, Finn's in 6th at the minute. If them two can go a bit quicker.
Got a couple of questions for you guys. Well, the first one is I want to say thank you to the touring cars and the support package drivers that have got involved this year. We've had some tips from Creasy, Max Coates, and a couple of other Ginetta drivers. I know we're speaking to a few drivers next season as well. So hopefully might be able to get a bit of merch to send out to the winners. But the main question to you two guys, and I'll answer it in a moment, is obviously touring cars probably the best race series in Britain. It's probably right up there in the world as well, to be fair.
For me it is.
Absolutely. Growing up, who was your two's kind of favourite drivers?
I'll let you go first, Matt.
Okay, mate. For me, and it still is to this day, Matt Neal.
Oh no!
And it is, and I'll tell you for why. My first memory of the racing was Donington Park in '99, where he won his $250,000 race, the first independent to win an outright race. Being stood on the hill by coming down the crane of curves into the old hairpin. I just remember the crowd that day when he won. It was just such a moment, and I've followed him ever since.
Didn't he make a move for the lead on at the old hairpin as well?
I think he did, if I remember right. If it was either the old open or just coming back up the hill.
It was on a Honda, wasn't it, from memory?
Yeah, James Thompson, I do believe it was.
That's it. He was a good
in
driver.
The Honda, brilliant driver. But no, it has to be Matt Neal. Even to this day.
Yeah, following on from you, Matt, you mentioned him there. Actually, my favourite driver growing up would have actually been James Thompson. Quite back when, I think it was 2004, my first time seeing British touring cars when they used to tour over here to Mundella Park. Yeah. So me and my dad used to go see them quite a lot. James was in the THR Racing League,
dominant
back with Ivan Muller, and I think it was Luke Hines back then as well. So yeah, James was a big favourite of mine, and then of course they returned again. I think it was 2006 I went as well, and James was in the Seat Leon with
Seat. And if I remember rightly,
Plato,
he was in with Plato. If I remember right, that was a season he was in the World Touring Cars as well.
He was.
I actually just got the DVDs from that, because I've been getting the DVDs for the touring car season, the review season of it. I've just watched that one. If you actually watch that season back, James Thompson, if he'd have done a full season, would have probably won it instead of Matt Neal.
Yeah,
he was very quick.
He won the first few races, didn't he?
Yeah, was dominant. Tyler, then I take it with your thing, you're a Plato fan.
How did you guess?
I didn't. It was probably when I said Matt Neal.
No, look, to be fair to him, to Matt, he's obviously a brilliant driver. I think he's competed at least one race since '91, I think, which is incredible longevity, isn't it? Because he's not particularly dropped off. I mean, he has a little bit the last 3 seasons, but he's always been there or thereabouts. So, yeah, he's brilliant. But for me, just for the entertainment and the kind of like the gung-ho kind of attitude, it's got to be JP for me.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, another guy with age has just started to drop off a bit, probably. Didn't have the best years in the BMR with the Subaru, did he? But and I've said this to my dad, I don't like Plato, but you can put Plato in any car on that grid and he'll win races in it.
Well, he done well in that Astra at the end, isn't it? I think
except the Subaru.
Yeah, everything but the Subaru he seems to get the best out of.
I think he had one win in that Subaru, didn't he? Was it either like Croft or Knock
I
Hill?
think he did,
like
but it was like, what, first season the Subaru come in when they finally got it right?
Yeah.
The only season they got it right.
I think, just to add as well, based on favourite drivers, if someone asks me favourite driver, I'll give them one, but quite frankly, I just enjoy every single team, every single driver as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, what other championships can you go meet the drivers in the pit lane, and all of them are so friendly.
No, and that's it.
You know, it's been 2006 was the last time I seen BTCC in Mondello, and then last year I went to the finale in Brands, and you know, I forgot how friendly every single driver is. You know,
just to interrupt you there, Ben Deeks has gone quicker. He's 0.03 of a second from Phil, with Louis Matt in third, only half a second behind. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, and so just as a whole, I think, you know, and just again, it wouldn't have a favourite team. Like I have a Halfords Yuasa jacket, but underneath it I had a WSR t-shirt on. You know, it's a bit taboo, but I don't necessarily follow anyone in particular. You know, and I was a little bit embarrassed wearing the Halfords jacket when Neil absolutely garried Turkington in the second race, I think it was. Yeah,
was he claimed that was intentional? But come on.
I couldn't believe it. I had a perfect view of it as well. Yeah.
I tell you, that was a fantastic meeting. I was there myself that end. The actual the gasp of the crowd when Dan Camish absolutely binned it was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Dan Cam would probably be my favourite driver on the current grid. At the moment.
You see, I go Turkington. If Matt Neal had to retire today, I'd say Turkington. I think he's brilliant. Just how consistent he is.
Yeah, he's good. Probably not the most exciting driver on the grid, but again, you can't argue with his championship.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You look at the likes of Camish and Sutton and the young guys coming into it now, your Tingrams and everything. The fact that Turkington just turns up on a weekend, he might not stick in on pole, but he gets the results in all three races, is fantastic. Favourite car?
AJ's another one like that as well.
Yeah. Did VIP with AJ when he was in the Ford Focus, when he was running with Motorbase that year, at Rockingham. And I tell you what, that was interesting. To go sort of in the VIP bit, tour of the garage, stand on the grid. That was quite interesting to see what actually goes off behind the closed doors. I don't think people understand how hard these guys have to work for the sponsorship and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They do an incredible job off the track. It's almost 24/7. People say they turn up on Sunday and race, but I can assure you it's definitely not that.
No, it's definitely not that.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Just so the session's complete, we can maybe pick up this chat maybe 2 laps into the race. Deeks is currently on pole. Like I said, 300s off Phil. Phil's still on his final flying lap.
Yeah, looked like he came up to a bit of traffic. TMS is about
TMS. That looks like it's going to be a slowdown potentially. Does he improve?
Better qualifying though from TMLS tonight. Front at sharp end of the grid. Hopefully he can get off the line well.
Yeah, it's a very good result so far.
I have found that if you can get in the top half, you generally stay out of trouble in these races. It's very hard to get a clean run. Although, if there was a THR Awards, I would like to think my first lap of Snetterton in the Ginettas is up there.
Oh, where you came from the back of the grid to the front.
Yeah, I think it was 12 to 3rd.
Was that the juniors?
Yeah, that was the one where Neil hit me off.
Yeah, I seen that.
I was about to say, the GT4s, you spun me around at the first hairpin.
Phil sets a fastest lap and takes pole position. Sorry there, guys. Phil has taken a fastest lap, half a second near enough quicker than Deeks. So a fantastic time from him. So let's run you through the full grid. It's Phil on pole from Deeks, TMLS with a fantastic qualifying. 3rd place, Louis Matt 4th. KJ Argentine 5th. He's had an up and down night tonight. Little Trev in 6th. Dean Wasocki, his worst qualifying of the night in P7. Rockets in 8th. Alfie 9th. Swimfin's 10th. Sutty Apex in 11. Who have we lost here? Have we lost? We've lost.
Adam has disconnected a while ago, I think. Yeah.
Sutty Apex in 11 and Gary couldn't set a time in P12.
We've got some really interesting comments. We'll answer all these questions now after the opening few laps, guys. I haven't forgotten about them. Some nice questions there we can answer for you.
Mark says some of the B races were more exciting to watch last season purely due to the full grid. Is commitment to the A or B league considered when deciding a grid for next season? Tyler, maybe you could answer that one.
Well, I mean, everyone that joins, we like to kind of know that they'll be in it throughout. But having said that, I know that we're going to try and pack out the A kind of league first, and then kind of go from there with B.
We'll get to Andrew's comment in a minute, as we're just going to watch the cars off the line. The lights are on, we can't see it on screen. It's go here for the final time in the touring cars. Good starts from those on the mid packs. Gary gets away well. Sutty seems to stop on the grid. Gary's getting involved here. Bit of rubbing, this car's off everywhere. That's Gary sideways, and in typical fashion he's hit Phil. And I think that's Dean who sent Phil flying through the sky, but it's Rockets who's come from, I think, P8, P9 on the grid into first place. Deeks is in second, Louis Matt's in third. TMLS has only lost one place, he's down to fourth. Kieran has stayed fifth. It's Dean Wysocki sixth, Lil Trev in seventh, Shrimpfin's eighth, Phil's in ninth after being garried. Sutty Apex in 10th, Gary 11th, and Alfie 12th. I don't know if Alfie's actually going yet. Was that Alfie going there, Ben?
I think you just got about going, yeah.
Yeah, it looks it on the map.
Just to add to your comment, Tyler, to Mark's question, I don't think it'll be a problem as much in A next season, because I think with the guys moving up, they're very committed, so it'll be a packed out grid every week for sure, and I think A is going to be... I'm even excited just to be part of it next season. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Stay tuned for next season. That should all be kicking off soon enough. Not next year, like me and Ben kept saying on commentary in the last season. This year, and in a few weeks, hopefully. Where's Alfie gone? He's disconnected, unfortunately. So we've lost Alfie for the final race of the season. But it's Rockets out in the lead by 9/10 from Louis Matt, as they're about to end the first lap. TMLS is back up into third. Deeks has lost it out into fourth. Dean Wysocki's up to fifth. That's Kieran dropping down the order. Well, he's on track, so either he's ran wide or a slowdown penalty. But Lil Trev into sixth behind Dean Wysocki. Later on the brakes than Dean. Probably caught him out a bit there going into the chicane. Nice to see Lil Trev back on the grid for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have him back. He was a front runner in Group B at the start of the season. A few commitments, unfortunately, had to see him step out of a few races, but nice to have him back here and hope for more next season.
As he run wide there, and Kieran gets a run up the inside. Sorry there, Ben. Just let TMLS know in chat, pit stop is on. Mandatory pit stop is on, so all drivers do have to pit stop.
What I do think is very interesting is how similar this track is to Thruxton.
Yeah, although the name is Silverstone, it does look... Yeah. The chicane's similar at the end. You've got the odd corner at the beginning. You know, that corner in the middle where these guys have just come round is... Alright, Church is probably a bit quicker than that corner there, but it's reminiscent to Church in a way. The fact you've got to slow down for it a little bit, and then you're back on the power for the quicker stuff. It is very Thruxton-like, and that's what I kind of like about this.
Yeah, definitely one to look for next season potentially as a replacement or an add-on for Thruxton into the league. It's a shame, as we've mentioned before, we don't have Croft or Thruxton in, two great tracks, you know. So it's nice to bring in some extra bits for next season.
Is.
Yeah.
And this is Louis Matt 7/10 from Rocket up front. Bit of a gap to TMLS behind, where Deeks and Dean Wysocki lay there. Getting back to some of the people in the chat. Andrew Tyler, which is Monkey Boy. Favourite driver was Rickard Rydell, as Louis Matt's done Rockets through the chicane. I didn't see Rockets make a problem. Louis Matt was obviously just quicker in the Astra, as you can see.
Elbows out from Louis there through the second part. Yeah, up on the curb, door rubbing with Rocket there. So yeah, good move from Louis.
Clearly wants this race win in the 25-minute race. 10 minutes longer in this one. Race isn't over yet, far from over. 21 minutes to go. So going back to the chat, Monkey Boy, Rickard Rydell, his favourite driver. Gary says we need to meet up when the BTCC starts again. What's the most central track for all people? Gary,
I suppose that we'll just have to organise that in the online group chats that everyone has.
Maybe look into next year as Rockets looks to make a move back on Louis Matt off the hanger straight, thinks better of it this time round. The BMW quicker in top speed.
Although
the Astra a bit slower.
Yeah, just a tad in a straight line. You'll see Rocket close up here under the slipstream. Not too much of a disadvantage for Louis here. As there's not too many sharp corners. I feel that the BM actually with its rear-wheel drive performs really well in the more technical tracks. But just back to the note on meeting up, I think with even though I'm the furthest away, over across the Irish Sea. I think I'd be the easiest to please because I could fly to any of them. You know, it'll be harder to get you guys over there.
Yeah.
So I'll decide on one race.
I camp at Donington Park every year, so I'm always at Donington. That's a no-brainer. But any other track for me, I can always get down to. Tyler, easiest track you'd say to get to?
Oh, easiest track by a mile, Brands. I'm literally probably about 20 minutes, half hour max.
Nice.
Yeah, Brands would be, well, from experience, Brands would be good for me. Flying to London Southend, really cheap flights.
Yeah.
Just try to get a car down then to the track.
Rob Hunt in the chat. Ignore him. That's brother-in-law. That's the brother-in-law. He's on about a friend of ours for Dean Wysocki or something. Don't quite know what he's on about there, so just ignore that comment. Cheers though, Rob. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've been here all night and enjoyed the racing so far. Probably not. It's not your kind of thing, but nevertheless, you're on the stream. That's TMLS off in the background. You can see penalties for Louis Matt and TMLS at the minute. Back on. And Dean Wysocki in fourth. He is, so he's past Deeks there. So going back to a question I asked at the end of qualifying. After all the years of the touring cars, what's your favourite car?
Sorry, Matt, I was just reading the comments there. Can you repeat that? Favourite car in the touring car series?
Yeah, in the real life touring cars. What's your favourite car?
Real life?
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of the WSR BMW. It's just, I suppose, not even because of the model, but the presentation of the design of the car is always immaculate.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the 1 Series. Not so much the 3 Series now. I've had to pick one team. It would be Halfords, who asked for the team dynamics. So probably the FK8 Civic is probably my favourite car on the track.
Tyler?
I mean, if we're talking all time, probably the Astra Coupe from the early 2000s, to be honest. Utter dominance. I caught up with Jason Plato at Coventry last year, and he said they was running that at about 80% throttle, and they still won all but one race.
Oh, brilliant. For me, the Renault Laguna, the Williams Renault Laguna, the blue and yellow, liveried. I just love that car. Alain Menu and Jason Plato. I know it's a Plato car and I'm a Neil fan, but there's just something about it. It just... Yeah, if you had to pick modern day, I've got to go the Halfords Honda USA, the FK8. As we see, Dean Wysocki's up into third place.
I quite like the shape of the CCs which run. I know they're not the quickest anymore, but I like that kind of saloon shape.
Yeah.
While we've been having a chat, Rocket has got past Louis Matt again for the lead.
He has a flash of the lights there from Louis Matt. You're right. Louis Matt also has the penalty bent. That was just TMLS.
What would you be thinking now, Matt, strategy-wise? Obviously, a very long race here.
If I'm sat in Louis Matt's position or Rockets?
Just in general, I would say.
In general. Yeah. 25-minute race. Again, similar to what Tyler asked me earlier at the Ginetta GT4 race. I'll probably see how I'm doing. If I'm the guys, like Lil Trev, Sutty, Deeks, I'd probably think about pitting now to get in front of the guys towards the end of the race. If I'm the leaders, I'd probably wait and see what happens. These two have got an 8-second gap to Dean Wysocki in third. So, and Sutty must be listening as he's in.
Yeah. It's a tough one on these longer races for sure. You could get in early and get some good clean laps in with your head down, no traffic. I think it's really just go on instinct,
Yeah, definitely. I'd just like to jump in there. Dean Wysocki's lost 2 places to P5 as Phil's up to 4th, and TMLS is back up into 3rd place. So maybe it's a mistake there from Dean Wysocki. Louis Matt with a flash of the lights. He's out for the back marker. He's out to let Rockets know he's there. The back marker stays out the way. And that's what we like to see here. A few problems with back markers through the season, but that was nice. And Louis Matt has a good run out of the corner. He'll be on the outside for this left-hand bend. Flat out through here, and that's probably not the corner he wants to try and pass Rockets on, as the top speed of the BMW is a lot greater than the Astra. And down the straight should be away. Louis Matt doing a very good job in this Astra. Like you say, it's a quick circuit like Thruxton. And the Astra that's not got the greatest top speed is actually doing well to keep up with the BMW here.
Yeah,
he's doing a blinding job. Absolutely. I think at Snetterton, we measured that the Astra's about 4 or 5 mile an hour down, so he's doing really well to keep up with him.
You've seen the gain through the chicane there, Ben. Look that Louis Matt made as he looks to make a move up the inside. Can't get it done there. You've seen him gain on the BMW through the chicane. That's the real opportunity he's got to make, hasn't it? Close up on the corners. And
yeah,
is that going to be his best opportunity at the chicane?
I think so, yeah. Look to see it kind of trucks the move into that chicane, maybe a little nudge of the rear and try and get up the inside. You'll see Rocket pull away here on the straight through that fast corner and onto the straight. Now he's already pulling a few car lengths as he uses that rear wheel drive BMW to get him around that fast right-hander and onto the hanger straight.
Yep, definitely a good showing though from Louis Matt in the Astra. As we can see, he's got the penalty. Unless he's got that bigger penalty, it's not really going to matter at the moment. But I
think one guy we've kind of left out is Louis in terms of Class B. Definitely deserves a shout out.
Yeah,
definitely has the pace to win a championship as well last season. Got a little bit unlucky in the GT5s. I felt one of the definitely top 3 on pace. So he'd definitely be one to watch out for, depending on.
Just to put in there, Ben, Deeks has just come out the pit lane, so we know Sutty's pitted. Not Deeks is now pitted as well. So the first of the classified guys to pit down in P8. Let's see how he progresses through the remaining 14 minutes of this race.
Yeah, again, I think it'll be. I'll just get my pen here and try and note who's stopping, because it is quite a long race. You could forget if I can find my pen.
But going back to Louis Matt, we have forgotten about him a little bit. He is a really good racer, and he's actually one of them guys where you can go kind of a whole lap side by side with him, knowing that he won't take you out as a real clean racer.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the thing with Louis Matt, is he's not had the results that's reflected on how good a season he's had. He's been quick, absolutely. He's been consistent, but because of certain incidents here and there, or a few mistakes, he's not got the mention. And guys like that sort of do go under the radar when they have them kind of results. TMLS is also in the pits now. Phil has passed Deeks. No, Phil was already. No, Dean was socking 4th. That's why Phil's in 3rd. TMLS was pitted. He was 3rd. So Deeks and TMLS are both pitted. Deeks still P9 as he runs wide at the chicane and hits the tyre wall, and round he goes. So that's not what he's going to want there. He could have probably passed TMLS. Is TMLS coming down the edge of the pit lane now? I think he is. Yep, he's out the pit. So Deeks could have probably done TMLS there, but unfortunately won't. Straight into the tyre wall. It's so easy to mess this chicane up being too late on the brakes.
And again, I think TMLS was be confident with this kind of result. He had got taken out at the start a couple of times earlier, but he has been running further at the moment. So again, one of the forgotten men, but having a really good showing at this end race. Yeah,
definitely. Louis Matt a flash of the lights and looks to come into the pits and nearly missed the pit entrance there under braking. So a flash of the lights for Rocket, and he's pitted.
I can't find my pen, so I'll just have to go by.
Well, at the minute we know that Deeks and TMLS and Sutty have pitted. Louis Matt now into the pits. The chance now for Rockets to get his foot down and try and pull out a gap from Louis Matt. Does he pit next lap? Does he go longer, Ben?
I think he'll go longer. Well, it's hard to know. Will he just mirror him and hopefully get out in front? I feel like Rocket does have a little bit of an advantage in the BM. He might just play it out. Louis will come into traffic, of course, now when he rejoins.
Yeah, definitely. Phil also in the pits. And that's brought Dean Wysocki into 2nd place. Not quite sure what we're waiting for here. Louis Matt's away. The lollipop looked up on Phil's call there, but not sure what that is. Little Trev's also in the pits. Well, the lollipop's up. Not quite sure what's happening with that.
Going back to Louis Matt, from a driving point of view in that Astra, I've competed in championship in that Astra before. It does chew through its tyres like you would not believe, that car, so he might struggle towards the end of the race on this one.
Well, he's pitted about halfway through this race, so is that why he's done that entirely? Fresh set of boots on the car?
It's probably gone. The front left just goes red after about 3 or 4 laps. It really chews through tyres worse than the Mercedes, so I think to the end of the if you don't catch up to Rockets by the end of the race, I think he'll be gone.
Well, the only place he's lost at the minute is to Dean Wysocki in 2nd place. There's Deeks, he's only made the one position, but he's on the back of Phil. Does he look to go around the outside here? He's going to look to make the move. That's a car off in front of him. Is that further position? No.
That's
and Deeks couldn't get the move done, so Swinfin's off there. Thanks, Ben. Rockets and Dean still not pitted, so provided Rockets gets a good pit stop, Louis Matt, 41 seconds behind, should come out 2nd if, depending on the pit stop. Louis Matt, what is he? About 24 seconds behind Dean Wysocki. So we should get Dean Wasocki as well. Here's the winner of the Group B Touring Car Cup. Surprised he's not turned left there into the car side by side, which is TMLS. That's Gary. A few messages in chat. Mark saying Brands Ben, and then go and watch. Great. ITF saying weekend. Gary, I'm 5 minutes from Portman Road. You can stay at mine, Mark. Nice one, Gary. I'm your number one fan for next season in A's.
In case people haven't noticed, Mark Finn's actually my dad. So he's just saying there we can go to Brands and then we can go to watch Ipswich Town, which is our club we follow. And obviously Gary lives 5 minutes from Ipswich Stadium, Portman Road. So it looks like we're going to have a big party in Gary's house. Maybe Gary does have fans after all.
I think Gary's biggest fan is probably the one in his bedroom to cool him down during this heat, and to cool him down when his head's getting a bit bigger. But still no Rockets and Dean Wasocki pit stop yet. Louis Matt still in third. When does Dean and Rockets look to pit? He's got a good gap so far as Rockets, 18 seconds to Dean Wasocki.
One thing we probably could have noted, which you didn't, was pit transition time, but it's hard to guess that because people are running different strategies, different fuel loads.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. If people have left the repair damage on, that will take the pit stop a lot longer than what it should do. Damage is off, so I don't think it would affect it in any way anyway.
I think you're looking at somewhere around the 40 to 45 second mark.
Yeah,
maybe a little longer.
It's about half a lap, isn't it?
Yeah, Louis Matt's 41 seconds behind Rocket at the moment. So where is Rocket on track? Has he got any traffic coming up? Quite a large track, this Silverstone circuit. So
he looks like he's past Swim Fins, and that was Kieran at the bottom of his screen. He looks like he's got to come up and lap in a minute. Yep, there's Kieran. So it looks like Rocket's going to come up to him soon.
Trev just in front, who's also pitted as well. So feel a little bit spread out here.
So Rocket coming towards the end of the pits, end of his lap. Then does he pit this lap with 8 minutes remaining to cover off Louis Matt, knowing that the Astra eats up its tyres? What would you do, Tyler, in this situation? You've got 8 minutes on the clock.
I'll probably long it out a little bit. He's not got too much traffic in front of him. Maybe see if he can. Maybe he needs to watch the gap, see whether it's going up, down, left, or right, and kind of manage it from there. Really, but I'll probably long it out a little bit while he's pulling away.
And Ben, what car is Dean Wasocki? He's in the Mercedes. Sutty's past Louis Matt. So knowing that the Astra eats its tyres, if you're in the Mercedes and you're Dean Wasocki, do you try and long that out a bit more again, or?
It's a tough one, really. I probably would long it out. I don't think Louis Matt's going to really challenge, knowing how that car eats its tyres. So again, I'll probably long it out and then pass him again a little bit later on in the race.
The more this battle goes on between him and Sutty, he's going to do his tyres no favours. Obviously, Louis Matt, Sutty, and TMLS with penalties.
42 seconds now. Rocket's pulled 1.5 seconds in the last lap now, thanks to Sutty battling with Louis.
Yeah, you can see the difference in times there. Louis Matt lost 4 seconds to Rocket on that last lap alone. What does Louis Matt do this time around? Rocket's pulled 2 seconds out to Dean Wasocki, so I mean, Rocket on it at the minute. Louis Matt, he's lost a second last time around, then Louis Matt to Rocket. So he's losing time. Swim Fins in 11th.
I know a few people were looking for Swim Fins maybe in interview, but I think we'll have to go to potentially Rocket. If he's going for 3 wins,
we'll get Rocket in again, and then we'll get Dean in again to get his interview from the first race.
Get them both in together.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Perhaps we can have our little friend Gary in.
We'll get Gary in. I think he's copped a bit of abuse tonight. I'm sure we can get Gary in for a quick chat.
Just to make up the numbers more than anything.
Yeah, Gary will be there tomorrow night as well.
Shout out to Swim Fins anyway for staying with us. Has got a little bit of stick this season.
Yeah.
On it because of his pace, but
he's been there all year though, Ben, and that's the main thing. Is he's been there all year and he's competed. That's the best thing about it, is the fact that the numbers are still there.
Yeah, I mean, I know Swim Fins actually quite an accomplished.
Sorry, Tyler, just to interrupt you. Rocket's gone into the pit, so this could be decisive for the race lead. And Sutty has passed Louis Matt again now. Louis Matt knows he's got to get his foot down. That looked like a splash and dash for me from Rocket. They look done quite quick. Dean will take the lead. Rocket's gone. So Louis Matt doesn't stand a chance there, Ben.
Yeah, Rocket looks like to have maybe gone for a full tank of fuel from the start of the race and literally just changed tyres. So interesting strategy from him. Yeah, Louis Matt, Sully and Louis only coming through the final corner now, so healthy lead for Rocket now. He's only just
6
6
seconds behind
seconds,
Dean,
yeah,
13
Dean,
up
so
the road, so Dean obviously
looking
still
good
to pit.
looking good for Rocket with only
Definitely.
5 minutes left.
Tyler,
Back to you, Tyler.
back to your point.
Yeah, so back to Swinfins, obviously running a little bit further at the back for most of the season, but he is actually quite an accomplished racer. I know that he does like the C1 Endurance Championships and is pretty successful in that, so perhaps it's just the kind of move over to Sim that he's just getting used to.
Yeah, I think definitely it's not as easy as people think it is. Kind of on a similar note, the Virgin Australia Supercars have been running an E-Series this season, and if you've noticed, I've been following it a lot because I quite enjoy them, but you know, you have the likes of Jamie Winkup, who is his list of achievements in Supercars is endless, and he's at the back of the grid every single race, just can't keep the car straight. So there's someone with, you know, a number of Bathurst 1000 victories to his name and Supercar Championships, and he struggles at the back. You know, so it definitely is. It's a much different feel to a real race car, obviously sitting at home in a sim.
Yeah, I'd say the transition from sim to racing is easier than real racing to sim.
Yeah, definitely, I would say so. You feel, you know, a race driver's intuition is all based on feel of the car, and you don't get that to an extent in a sim. Now, depending on your equipment, depending on force feedback settings, some people do, but yeah, definitely would be harder to transition from the race car into the sim for sure.
Definitely. Just going into it with the last 3 minutes, Dean Wysocki still not pitted. He's obviously going as long as he can at the moment. The gap's come down from Rocket to Dean, but Rocket knows he can just put it in cruise control here. Still got to get the lap times in. He's got a 15-second gap back to Sutty in third.
Based on, you know, again, we can't really judge the transition times, but Dean could find himself down as far as 8th or 9th. You know, there's only 40 seconds back to TMLS in 8th.
TMLS seems to have had a poor race here. He did qualify P3, don't forget. He's down in 8th position, so obviously a few instances he's been caught up in. But yeah, you're right, Ben. Dean Wysocki not pitting early could actually cost him at the end of this race, depending on what happens further down the grid.
Just having a look there, Louis Matt fastest on track, aside from Gary, who's doesn't really count. 34.8 last time round. So while battling with Sutty too, so Louis definitely does have the pace. Gap down to 19 seconds from Rocket. Yeah, so Sutty and Louis are closing. Whether it's enough, you know, only 2 minutes left, it looks like Rocket will have this in the bag.
Yeah, 100%. Again, you can see Dean Wysocki still not pitted there, and Rocket is down to 3 seconds as Dean runs a bit wide there. That'll help Rocket out in terms of catching him. Rocket will want Dean to pit before he has to pass him, I'd imagine, here, just to make it a bit easier. No accidents or anything, so you can guarantee the race win. There's TMLS.
He's got enough of a gap to Sutty and Louis behind. He'll take it easy and manoeuvre Dean, maybe be quite cautious.
He's not going to want to get involved in a scrap, which could possibly cost him time if he was to have a coming together with Dean. You can see the gap down to 2.7 seconds here as they come onto the hangar straight. And there's Deeks. Won a race earlier in the night, the Clio Cup. He's been up there tonight. He's again another one to watch. All these guys ones to watch next season in potentially Group B. He's got Phil in front and he's got TMLS behind. TMLS, who obviously qualified third. He's had a bit of a poor race. He's dropped back to 8th at the moment. Penalties will obviously pay the factor, and don't forget Sutty and Gary will not count swim fins in the pits. Dean's got to pit this lap, if I'm right, because he'll go into the last lap next time round. So Dean Wysocki has to pit.
Perhaps he's forgotten with the just with the longer race. Maybe it's just slipped his mind, but he does seem to be veering off to the side here to come in.
He does, yep, slowing down. He's either hurdles or someone, or he's known about it, but into the pits he comes.
35 seconds to TMLS and 8, so
it'll be interesting to see what kind of pit stop he does, if it's in and out or if it's going to be that. But Rockets will take the lead here on the final lap of this race. Louis Matt still battling with Sutty Apex. They're obviously going to pass Dean in the pits. Just got a blank screen at the minute. No cars on track there. Oh wait, There's Gary.
Who's that?
Gary in the green BMW. The green, white and red. There's Phil. Good showing from Phil tonight on his debut. I think the last time we seen a debut this strong was, I think, Mazda at Snetterton on his debut. Won the Ginetta race and had a good showing all night there. Could only make the one round due to work. Dean Wysoki's out the pits. He's only dropped to P5. Obviously, he'll gain 2 positions on Sutty and Gary, so that's P3. He's actually only lost out to Louis Matt in the end there, so not a bad pit stop from Dean.
Yeah, good stop from Dean there. Obviously, a splash and dash. Obviously, without being too smart, has put a whole fuel load in for the entire race, and all he's had to do is change his tyres there.
Definitely.
Perhaps maybe didn't. He was. Do you have the option not to change tyres? Can you just repair damage?
I think
not too sure.
I think if I know the settings I use on the wheel, you can not change tyres and just add fuel.
Yeah,
so maybe that's what Rockets did as well. I'm not too sure there. But on track we've got Wakisaki v Garrett, 2 of the hard hitters. Not in terms of results, but in terms of being shunting people.
Interestingly, Gary's car looks pretty straight, which is unusual.
And there's the win for Rockets. And he probably the easiest win of the night. And here's the battle for second place on track. Obviously, Sutty's won't count. Will Sutty give it? Louis Matt? Yeah, looks like he's backed off a bit there. But Louis Matt will take a great second in the Astra. Gary there, what a gentleman!
Gary. Dean just slipstreamed him.
Did it? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right, Ben. Dean is pure pace against Gary there. Dean Wysoki will take a third.
That's Elon Musk's rocket ship right there on screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Deeks will come home in 4th place from Phil, who will do Deeks on penalties. TMLS will get 6th. I think Gary's Gary'd himself here because he's dropped down to 8th and still hasn't finished the race yet. Here's KJ Argent. He's going to get 7th place overall. The wipers are on. I don't think it's raining, Kieran. No rain in this race. Little Trev, he'll claim a P8 and Swimfins will claim a P9. He's already finished the Swimfins, so we'll just wait on Kieran and Little Trev. But Rockets 3 wins tonight. It's been a good performance from him in what Kieran was classing the Molehill Cup. The King of the Hill tomorrow, around Knockhill.
What a fantastic race it's going to be. A very tight track in Knockhill, so it'll be interesting to say the least.
There's going to be plenty of rubbing and bumping tomorrow.
Definitely, qualifying is going to be a big factor as well.
Qualifying will be important.
And even in saying that as well, it's such a short track that getting a quick lap in quali will be tricky as well, not getting involved in any traffic.
Yeah, 100%. Watch out for the lean, mean Gary machine, because Gary likes to be in his green cars. He'll come through the pack and want the wins, no doubt. But it's Rockets who takes the the 3rd win of the night, and the BTCC win. Ignore Sutty there, he was just a filler. Louis Matt will take 2nd. Dean Wysoki will get a 3rd. He's got 3 podiums tonight, so not bad results for him. Phil, the debutant, he'll take a good 4th place. Deeks in 5th. TMS gets 6th. Kieran gets 7th. Lil Trev 8th. Ignore Gary in 10th again, just a filler. Swimfins will get 9th, and that rounds that off. We lost Alfie. We lost in that race, didn't we? We lost Alfie in that race. Yeah.
Decides to retire the car.
Yeah, just all a bit of fun, and this is the thing with the THR League guys. They've all organised this event as a bit of fun for the end of the season. Wind down, get ready for your next season. Tyler, obviously, the leader of the league, set it all up, and we're all thankful for that. Gary says he'll not come through the pack, he'll be at the start from the front. Dean, can you just change your party settings on the party chat, mate, so we can hear you? If you go onto party settings in the chat, in the party bit, and then you'll see it say, just bear with me, I'm going to get it myself. It should be a thing that says always allow or something else. You might not be set to it. It says allow your voice to be shared. Can you change that to always allow, please? Have you managed to sort out Dean always alone? Have you done that, Dean? Right, sweet. So now we're able to hear you, and the guys on the stream are able to hear you. Well done on your second place in the first Ginetta Junior race. I know a few people couldn't hear you. How did you feel about that? How have you felt about your evening? Right, sweet.
I think I've done well in them 2 races. I qualified very good. I just got, like I said earlier, I got my head down. Just ignored everyone at chat party. Sorry about that, boys, but I just concentrated, didn't give up.
Yeah, well, good. Ben, anything to add to Dean?
Dean, obviously your pace has come on a lot during the season. Are you looking forward to next season? Do you think you can push for podiums and even race wins and potential championships next season?
I'm going to try my best, yeah. Hopefully, when I get my wheel, I'll be a lot quicker and a lot better. But I have improved all the way through the season, which I told Tyler. I've improved a lot from day one.
Yeah, for sure. And is there any particular championship you're looking forward to the most next season? Which is your favourite car to drive?
I think mostly the touring cars and maybe the Ginetta Juniors and Clears. I like the Clears as well.
Yeah, it's definitely good showing in the front-wheel drive cars this season. Well, Dean, thanks very much for joining us tonight, and
Cheers,
we look forward to seeing you next week.
Best of luck, mate.
Thank you very much. See you later, boys.
Cheers, buddy.
And then we move on to Wayne. Congratulations, Wayne, another victory tonight. Probably the easiest win of the night. Would you agree?
Easy. No, it was the first half of it was great fun with I don't know who it was behind me.
Louis,
I couldn't look for too long. I was concentrating too much, but it was good seeing the difference in the the front wheel drive and the rear wheel drive. But I knew I had a bit of pace, so I stayed out as long as I could just to try and build that gap, and it kind of worked. So
talk us through the pit stop. Was it more a splash and dash in the pits, or?
Like I say, I've got no idea what I did. I went into the pits like I was told. I've got no idea what the setup was, what the...
No.
Move.
Once I worked out that you brake a bit early in the BM and then get on the power sort of midway through the corner, I sort of settled a bit more. But before that, I was all over the place, and I think I was probably annoying him a little bit. Me line choice and stuff where I was a bit out of control, but I enjoyed the car and definitely pleased I went with the BMW.
Yeah, well, congratulations. 3 wins, I think, tonight it was, wasn't it? So a massive well done to you for tonight.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, brilliant.
I've never won on this game at all.
Well, that just goes to show you what can be achieved. Tyler, any words?
Yeah, well done for the obviously wins that you've had.
Cheers.
The last race you managed absolutely brilliantly. The Astra does chew through its tyres, so to stay out a little bit longer and just gap him, really well managed, pretty straightforward as races go. So well done to you.
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole night, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You.
Hopefully you can be part of next season, and best of luck for it.
Lovely. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
See you.
As you've seen just then, Gary's joined the party. Gary, are your settings correct?
I believe so.
Right.
I can't hear it. Can you hear that?
No, I didn't hear it. Just heard a load of jibber
No, I didn't
jabber.
hear it.
Gary,
I
in
guess
for a bit of
that
stick
isn't-
tonight.
Yeah, always. It's all good fun, isn't it?
What's your thoughts going forward to tomorrow then? We've got a bit of testing in over Ben and Tyler. What's your thoughts?
I think you can answer that one for me, can't you?
Well, saying that, you didn't get the testing tonight because we didn't do knock hill. Obviously, we tested last night.
Yeah, not great.
Are you looking for some wins, or are you going to get your elbows out, or is it just going to be some fun?
It's just going to be some fun tomorrow night.
Yeah. Looking to punt Tyler off again?
Sure.
I'd never do such a thing.
We've seen all season, every time I switch on my PlayStation, I'm getting invitations to test with these guys. I don't accept, but it doesn't affect it on the race night. They're still the same pace, so I wouldn't be too worried, Tyler, that these guys have been testing.
Trust me, you ask Matthew, it's terrible at the moment. Especially
Gary's
around Knockhill.
Gary's not testing. The organisers of Knockhill have asked him to cut the grass with his car. That's what Gary's been doing. Tyler, any words from you to Gary?
Yeah, how are you feeling going into Knockhill? Because you've got to bear in mind that the track limits are incredibly strict around there. And also, are you going to be enjoying seeing the rear end of my car?
I'll enjoy ending up on your back seat when I drive right through you, but yeah, that should be good fun.
Standard.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that'll be alright. Like I said, the rain around Knockhill is absolutely terrible.
Which car are you looking forward to driving the most?
Porsche, funnily enough. I find it fairly easy in the wet conditions.
Fair enough. We'll change it to snow then.
We'll do that one in the dry.
Yeah. If you change it to anything, I'm just out there for a good laugh tomorrow night, good crack with the boys, and look forward to the new season.
Good. You say that, it'll all be fun and games until the first lights go out.
Very true, very true.
What's your plans for next season then, Gary? Obviously won a few titles in Group B. Probably going to make the step up into Group A. What's your expectations for next season?
Just enjoy the race and have some good, close, fun racing with all the boys. I ain't planning on setting the world alight because I know some of them boys are quick. Very quick, in fact.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been brilliant tonight as a filler. Thanks for your time, and obviously best of luck for tomorrow.
Yeah, no worries.
Ben, pleasure commentating. We look forward to doing it in Group B next season. Tyler, again, thanks for being a part of the party and a part of the commentary team tonight.
No, thank you very much. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We've had a good laugh, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been good
Indeed,
fun.
It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll get in for a little bit of on-board commentary every now and then, Matt.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Tomorrow.
I'll have to have you in tomorrow.
Yeah.
I do believe Deeks wants to try and have a bit of co-commentary, so we may have Deeks in the commentary box tomorrow with myself. Yeah. Same time. Final words from any of you two?
Well, I look forward to make sure you come back tomorrow. I look forward to it.
Yeah, Ben?
Definitely. It's going to be. I'm speechless. It's going to be an incredible race. We've seen the pace of all 12 drivers. So around Knockhill as well. As Tyler mentioned earlier, there's going to be some great two-wheel action for 30%, 40% of the lap, and a lot of incidents, I would say.
Yeah, there certainly will be. Make sure that...
one more word.
I didn't know you were Slayer, actually.
Yeah, I'm off. Thanks for the evening, and just remember to buckle your belts up tomorrow. Thank you.
I honestly thought Gary had gone. Cheers to Gary there. Thank you again to Ben Phelan, who will be racing tomorrow night alongside Tyler, the organiser of the league. Thank you, boys. Thanks for everybody in the stream to watching. Thanks for all the partners of the BTCC chat, the Hard Compound, the Tin Top Racing UK boys. Fantastic job from them as always. The Prestige Man and the BTCC Blueprints for sponsoring such a fantastic, well-run league from Tyler. That's all for tonight. Hope you can join in tomorrow for the top six of B versus the top 6 of A, minus me. I'll be on your commentary with Deeks and possibly Ben from Inboard the Cockpit. Stay safe during this time of the COVID-19, and we'll see you tomorrow night.